Welcome, welcome everybody. Give everybody just a second to pop in. Um, Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. Let's get some people in here. It's that time again where we all gather around the holler goblin and tell ghost stories. Sunday nights, Monday nights, we're always here talking about spooky stuff. We do paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, unexplained, glitch in the matrix, and guys, if you subscribe, thank you, Harry. If you subscribe, you get access to the Discord where we do all the coolest stuff. So definitely hit the subscribe button, come on over, join us in the Paranormally Correct Discord for lots of fun activities. Everybody tap the screen, tap, 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 send hearts. The more hearts means more people, means the more ghost stories. Misfit, thank you. It's actually like magenta, but everything looks really weird on here. Like, well, that's like a whole thing with TikTok. I don't know. Nothing looks right on my screen, like compared to real life. But also, I am in the dark right now, so it's a little dark in here. But that might have something to do with it. And we have our wild and crazy Chris joining us. He's late, fashionably late as usual.
I'm like 1 minute late.
You're 2 minutes late by my clock.
Well, it's okay. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's
Holly
fine.
Holly might think it's bad.
Holly might fire you. I don't know. We'll have to ask her.
Yeah. She's
All
not
right,
even
everybody.
here.
I think she is, isn't she? I don't know for sure. Yeah,
No.
it's spooky time. How's everybody doing? How was your weekend? How about you, Chris? How was your weekend?
I was good. Just hanging out, relaxing at home.
Very cool.
I'm
Very
old,
cool.
so I'm an
Same.
I'm an old man, guys.
Hanging out doing old man things.
Yeah. Reminiscing of my life when it was fun.
It's kind of sad, kind of depressing. All right, guys, there's 200 and some of us in here. Everybody tap the screen, send some likes. More likes means more people, means more spooky stories. And we definitely want to get as many spooky stories as we can tonight. Hopefully, we get a bunch between 11 and 12. But you guys know, after midnight, it gets crazy in here. So if you got a story, feel free to hop in the box.
Harry,
Yep,
what?
period.
Harry knows I'm like in my 30s.
Let's see. People keep joining the box and then disappearing. I hope we're not having glitches tonight. I feel like we haven't
Ooh.
had a super glitchy night for a while, so maybe we've got one coming.
Glitches. Glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
Cecil.
Tina's going to join us.
Oh,
Hello, Tina.
how are
Tina.
ya?
We're good. How are you?
Well, I'm gonna talk about the first time that I ever had a paranormal experience.
Okay,
Now,
sounds
I,
good.
I grew up a military brat, so every 3 years until I was about 15, we would move around. And I learned, because of that, I learned about like Aboriginal culture when we lived in Australia. I learned about, Inuit culture when we lived in Alaska. So I've always been very open to paranormal or supernatural or other ways of thinking and being. Now, I'm going to warn you now, you might hear my pugs snoring. So just so you know, they're loud sometimes. Anyways, so my dad retired from the military in about 1991, and we moved into a place along the Salmon River here in Idaho. That was why my dad joined the military, to be able to afford a house by the Salmon River. So, growing up, we have a big family, Catholic family, so very close. And my grandma had 10 kids. She had 8 girls and 2 boys. And so my dad was very close to his brother, Dana. And Uncle Dana was one of those guys that, he was a construction worker. And he always told everybody he was a professional hoer because he ran the backhoe. And Uncle Dana was the kind of guy that, always had a joke, always had, fun stories to tell. He was, he lit up a room when you met him. And he was one that, people would remember because he was so kind and funny. So I was in high school there in Riggins, and we were the Salmon River Savages. Now, these days, it's kind of like, because the mascot was, a warrior, a native warrior. And so I was the mascot. And, this was back in the 90s. So, people weren't as politically correct as they are today regarding those sorts of things. But my family knew Native people. So, like, I wanted to respect it. I wanted to make sure that nobody thought of us in a negative way. Or, and then I wanted to represent in a way that was humble because that is the Native way. I'm not a Native person, but I live on Native land. We all do. So I learned in the military to respect the culture in which you are on and respect the spirits of the land on which you are. So I wanted to represent it in a good way. So one night we were like, my dad was, Uncle Dana would always just pop up out of nowhere. He would never call. So every time you see him, it's a surprise. And the night before, he just showed up. And that was homecoming night. So it was a big night for me. And so he went to watch the game. And my dad and him were going to get up in the morning and go hunting. So they crashed out a little early. And I ended up falling asleep on the couch. And what had happened the next morning was what was so troubling is that I woke up by my mom saying, "Oh no." I mean, and it was one of those I'm awake right now because of the sound of her voice. Well, it turns out my dad and Uncle Dana got in a major car accident. It was that time right before dawn where it's just like dusk, you can't see very well. And a big boulder about the size of a VW bug fell into the road. And they hit it, went airborne, and collided with a big pickup truck. And thankfully, no one in the other vehicle was injured or dead. But my uncle Dana died instantly, and my dad flew out the window because, of course, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, right? Flew out the window and hit the door with his foot, so he smashed his big toe. And then he flew down the highway and basically skidded. And he had a broken pelvis, a whole bunch of injuries. Thankful he was alive, but my uncle was dead. And my uncle and I were, we were close because I was his brother's kid and I was his only kid. And he used to always say my name, like, Tina. And he had a low, booming kind of voice. And it just, it always made me giggle. And so mom's upset. I wake up, holy crap, Uncle Dana's dead. And so I'm still in my uniform from the night before because I just crashed as soon as I got home. And so I walked down the steps to go to my room to get changed so we could go. And when I got to the bottom of the steps, I heard my uncle's voice. No, no, no. I felt my uncle's voice say, Tina. And it vibrated my entire body. And I dropped to the ground like I couldn't move. I was in shock. I was devastated. And you know that when the throat starts to close, when you're very upset and your stomach starts to churn. I dropped to my knees because it was so powerful. And I've had similar experiences since then, but nothing as intense as that. And I knew it was him. And I knew it was him telling me that he was okay, that he had made it to whatever place you go, and that he would be okay. And that, I'm just getting chills right now just thinking about it. And I know that when you get chills, when you're talking about these kinds of things, that's confirmation. So I knew it was him, and I knew it was him telling me that he was okay and that I would be okay. But, I miss him every day. But, that kind of opened me. I've experienced other things after that. I think it was more like a activation in a way, if that makes any sense. And I know that man protects me. I know he does. I've survived really close calls a few times. And one happened in Montana. I'll have to save that for another day. But anyways, that's my story of how I started to feel things, of otherworldly things, I guess. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I
anyways,
totally
yeah.
get what you mean about kind of opening up after an experience like that. I think I can definitely relate to that personally too. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, we're taught in our childhood that what we see and what we feel are wrong. So we tend to stop believing the things that we see and experience. And religion is a big part of that. Because how would they control us if we knew we had power?
yeah.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. Anyways, thanks for letting me share my story.
Thank you for coming up, Tina. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Tap that screen, send some hearts. It doesn't cost you anything, it's completely free. I promise.
Yeah.
Um, all right, guys, the box is open. We do spooky stories here. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. Out of all the things that's happened to you, what scared you the most? It doesn't even have to be paranormal, but it can be paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, unexplained in general, glitch in the matrix, or if you have a Loch Ness monster story, I definitely want to hear that one. I don't know why I keep disappearing off the screen. Whatever. I guess it doesn't matter if I'm even on here at all, but okay, so send some hearts. Also, if you want to join us over in the Discord where we do all the craziest things, feel free to hit that little subscribe button. I don't know where it is on the screen. Last week somebody said it was along the bottom. I don't know. There's a little
Bottom
star
left
somewhere.
corner.
Hit bottom left corner. All right, yeah. Hit that star, subscribe, you get cool emojis, you get access to the Discord, you get free tarot readings from me. I'm not great at it,
Yes.
but I'll give you a free tarot reading. We got to do one of those this week. I'm thinking like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that because I want
Yeah.
to. I'm a little bit rusty. So we need to get we need to get that started and kind of get in the swing of it. And I was thinking I'm going to make like a secondary account and add myself so that I can run 2 cameras at once, and that way you can see the spread. Plus, you can see me so that you know I'm not like, I don't know, pantsless. I'm not pantsless. I mean, I
Oh,
am Our Lady
yeah.
of Perpetual Pantslessness, but not right
Only
now,
Mondays.
TikTok. Not right now, TikTok. I am fully clothed. Jesus, what have I done? Okay, all right, guys. Somebody come up here and start talking so that I can shut up because clearly I need to. Everybody tap screen, send hearts. We got to get out into the TikTok algorithm. Send lots of hearts. Tap, 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 tap. Snoop boop. Do me a heckin' snoop boop, guys. All right, we got
All
Spooky.
right.
It's always a party when
I was
Spooky's
about to
here.
mention her.
Oh, we got a. Oh, there you are. Hello, welcome.
Hi. You were going to mention me? I
Hello.
feel honored.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
well, this story isn't my story, but it gave me chills, and I've been saving it all week for y'all. It's kind of an unfortunate one, but it's also kind of beautiful. So in Utah, a mother was driving home with her baby, and she was really tired. Unfortunately, she flipped her car off of a bridge, and it landed upside down in a river. That was 10:30 at night. And it wasn't found until 8 a.m. the next morning. And it was found by some fishermen because they heard a woman's voice inside asking for help, calling for someone help me, please help us. So policemen, and I watched the YouTube video on this, and you can hear her yelling for them. The police start talking back to her, and they're like, "We're gonna get you out. Just hold on." So they get down into I guess a gully. I don't really know what to call it. They get down there and they start pulling the car up, and they can get her to where they can get her out. They find the baby is suspended upside down in her car seat, like barely hanging on. She's 18 months old. And when they get to the mom had already passed away. But even on their body cams, they caught her voice asking for help. They over 6 people reported hearing the voice, and I don't know. I heard it and it scared me to death.
There's a video of this?
Yes, it's a YouTube video. Her name, I can't remember her last name. It's Jennifer in Utah. If you look
Uh-huh.
it up, the Utah Jennifer body cam video should get you there. I saw TikTok about it, and then I looked it up on YouTube. That's how I found it. But I heard the voice. It's really muffled and far away, but you can hear it, and you can hear them talking back to her, asking her to keep talking to them so they can get her out.
That's really interesting. I feel like I've heard similar stories to that in the past. But yeah, that's really cool.
If you can, Spooky, you should post that in the Discord so we can all check it out.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was
Very
my
cool.
scary story for the day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Alrighty. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming up. Tap, 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 guys. If you're not tapping, you're probably napping. I don't know. It's better when Tully says it. I tried. I failed. Tap, snoop boop. Um,
We're
let's get some
missing
people in
people.
here. Guest box is open. Yeah, it's early still. Um, the Boo crew isn't here yet, unfortunately. I told you, it'll get wild after midnight. It always does. A little too wild. um, oh, Tina, you uploaded one. I did not see that. I'll go look for it. Where in the Discord is it? Is it in like the paranormal category, like paranormal supernatural? Guys, we have so many cool categories over there, and like everybody's
Yeah.
just like posted all kinds of stuff. Like we've got all kinds of videos. I've shared my ghost pictures and stuff like that. It's really cool. I'll have to look for that though. Somehow I missed that one. It's been a busy week, so I haven't really, I haven't seen every single post, um, but yeah, I'll definitely go look that up.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
see
is
it.
it? Hello and welcome.
Hi. Didn't think I'd get on here. Hi.
Got a spooky story for us?
I've got a ton, and I'm just trying to think of like one that's kind of more up there. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt like somebody was watching you? I'm sure that's like a common thing that maybe a lot of people have, maybe not.
Yeah, we have a lot of guests that experience something like that, but I personally haven't.
Oh,
But
okay, okay. Well, my story is there was one time I woke up in the middle of the night. I'd often wake up and my blankets would be off of me, and I would think nothing of it. I would thought, no, I just did it in my sleep. But there was one night I woke up. I didn't really move very much. I was definitely wide awake, but it felt like there was kind of something tugging on my blanket, and then all of a sudden it just flew off of me, and I freaked me out. I got up, my door was closed. None of the animals were in my room. Yeah, pretty simple, but yeah.
so is that like your only paranormal experience? Are you someone who's had experiences before, or is this your first?
No, I've had a ton of I'm in my 30s now, and most of the stuff happened in my like childhood, teens, and 20s. But there's hardly been any activity, I don't know, in the last like 10ish years. But when I don't talk about it very often, a lot of the stories just kind of go away in my head. Let me think of another one. Sorry, I'm like put on the spot.
Oh, you're fine. If you can't think of one right now, you can always come back up later.
Yeah, yeah,
Just whatever suits you. Just
yeah.
hang out in the chat and listen to some stories, and if you want, you can come back later, or
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, that one sounds good. I know I've got a ton, but it's like blinking right now. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you think of another one, just jump back in the guest box.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, we
Thank you.
appreciate you. All right, guys. Do we have no guest box is open? Somebody come up and tell us your spookiest spooky story. That's what we want to hear. The story that scared you the most, the encounter with Dogman that terrified you, the alien abduction that you can't get past or get over, or can't wait to get back to again. There's a stream here on TikTok that I've been watching a little bit here and there. I don't remember what the channel's called for some reason, but they do extraterrestrial talk. Chris knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it is the wildest stream that I have ever heard in my life. These people are full on talking about like living another life in this place where they get abducted to. And it is wild, guys. It's the wildest thing ever. Holy cow. They're probably on tonight too, because I think the guy's on like every single night. But I'm thinking about hopping on there sometime and being like, I don't know, not being trolling or nothing, but just I'm just intrigued by it, I guess. A little strange.
Yeah.
But if you are out there and you have been abducted and you have gone to another planet for significant amounts of time and you want to come up and tell us about it, feel free to hop in the box. The box is open. What account is it? I can't remember the name of the account.
Let me look it up.
Chris said one of our regulars here was in the chat there the other night. Was it Ashley with the flowers?
Yes,
in
it
her
was
name?
Ashley.
If
Yes.
she's here, she can probably tell you guys what it is, but I don't know.
Let me see.
Tap the screen. Let's get out into the TikTok atmosphere. Commander Guy, yes! That's what they call him. They call him Commander. Have you seen it, Heather? It is wild. Mona. What's going on with Mona? Strange. No squirrels. Yeah, we don't want to hear about squirrel stories. Was that last week or the week before? The squirrel
Last week.
story. Yeah, we don't need no more of that. That was a little too wild for my blood.
Okay, that's the name right there. I just posted it in the comments.
We had a guest and then he disappeared. I don't know what's going on. People are disappearing out of the box. There's been 5 people so far that got in the box and then vanished. have no idea what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Tina, you missed the squirrel story. Consider yourself lucky, Tina Marie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that one was too much. And not at all paranormal, I don't think. Then again, what do I know? Um, let's see. I gotta ramble about something for a
Yeah.
second, Chris.
Well, I guess I'll plug the box.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to come up and tell us a story, we're all ears. Just you need to have at least 200 followers to join. But yeah, somebody come up here and tell us about your spooky stories. That's what we do here. Sundays and Mondays, the rest of the week, we're in the Discord posting wild stuff. Guys, wild stuff. Spicy stuff. Sarah doesn't like for me to say this, but X-rated stuff.
It's not true. That's not true.
Well, it's not true, but eventually we'll get there.
You better not get me another banana.
No.
I've already got a warning. I don't need a whole banana. Come on now. Oh, it looks like we got a guest, and they didn't disappear before I could bring them in, so that's a good
Nice.
sign.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, I wanted to share a story from where I grew up at. I grew up in a small town, reservation, and there's our sacred mountain where we go and people we just have things there that like ceremonies and stuff like that, and there were these kids that went out there that took a class trip out there and they started playing with the Ouija board. And when they were playing with that, they all got possessed. They released something, and well, I know what they released, like these little people, like these trolls. Yeah, and I guess they came from I don't know, like a portal or something from the underworld, and they got released into our reservation area. And after that happened, then kids started dying left and right and committing suicide. And it was crazy though. They Yeah, and those kids, they got really sick, and I think a couple of them ended up dying that were playing the Ouija board. And so they had to have all these medicine men, like kind of like shamans, I guess you would call them. Yeah, come to our reservation and try to get rid of those things that were put here. Yeah, by those kids, and they got rid of them. Uh, they got rid of few of them, but some of them were still around. Um, yeah, but like every month, like I guess it was like 6 kids were dying. Yeah, they were dying. Well, they were passing away all in threes, like every other week or something. But yeah, it was just weird. I mean, like I don't know. It's just creepy though. Something like that happened. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Excuse me. I'm just kind of like it's kind of weird sharing that though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a terrible, tragic story. I hate to hear that.
Yeah. So,
So,
but yeah, it's just they got together. They did their ceremonies and stuff, and they got rid of most of them. But I guess a few of them trolls were left here that had escaped. But eventually, in the end, they ended up getting rid of all of them though. But yeah, that's just something that I've I've heard about when I was younger, and it was true though. It was true because you were like you were seeing the flyer of the kids that were passing away, and it was just I don't know, it's just real creepy and stuff. Like knowing that stuff like that can happen, you know? Yeah. So I mean, but I do believe it. I believe it happened because it's like we're not supposed to as a native person you know as a as a native person we're not supposed to be messing with those kind of things. Yeah, and yeah, things like Ouija boards and stuff. We're supposed to stay far away from that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to come in here and share that little story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming up.
yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and leave now. But yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
alrighty. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Let's see. Oh, we got Angie. Everybody tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Send some hearts. Hello,
Hello.
welcome.
Hi, how is everybody?
Good, how are you?
Okay, so I have a really creepy story it's not just one place in particular, it's the entire town. I live in Louisiana, and no judgment on anybody when I say this. My cousin and I, Civil War reenacted. We dressed as late Southern belles and stuff during the day, or washerwomen or whatever, and then at night we would wear what they called the ladies of the night clothing in the red light district around the camp. Well, on one of our ladies' adventures, they had offered up to our group. We were in St. Francisville. They asked us if we wanted to go tour the Myrtles and the Myrtles plantation. And I had been to the Myrtles once or twice, but this was the first time we were actually going in full costume. And we stood on the staircase to take a picture. The tour guide had all four of us ladies stand on the staircase to take a picture. Well, when we got the pictures back to develop, once they were developed, and this was in the 90s, early 2000s, there were 5 women on the staircase, not 4. And that just kind of blew us away. So later on, after the tour's over, we head over to the cemetery. They're having some sort of um function at the cemetery to honor someone who had passed away that has to do with the Civil War. And there's a big story about the Civil War and the battle and the gentleman that died and all of this historical stuff. And we took pictures of the headstone, and the man appeared in the reflection of the headstone that they were honoring. So it
Wow,
was
that
just,
is
yeah,
that's really
and it's a
cool.
black headstone. So to see this, there was no man behind me. There was no one there. It was just me. And I didn't reflect into the stone, but a Civil War soldier reflected back to me in the headstone. And it's a pretty big headstone.
That is wild. I love
Yeah.
stories from down around that area.
Yeah,
It's
the
just
whole
such a
town is
spooky place.
freaky. The whole town is weird because there's a vibe about the town that my cousin, we were picking up on a lot of things, and there were certain places I wouldn't go into because it just made me nauseous and sick. And but there's the whole place, the whole town has this horrible, horrible. I mean, there was a huge Civil War battle there, and a lot of people did die. But this one particular soldier, he wasn't killed in battle. Some say he died from malaria on the boat. Some say he committed suicide. And the crazy thing was, years later after this, so probably 2 or 3 years after this happened, I ended up buying a letter off of eBay, and it was the letter to his wife, the soldier that died. It was a letter to his wife, a condolence card, and then a letter she wrote to somebody telling them about his passing. And it was just creepy, and the vibes that came from that letter was even creepier. So the connection to that soldier was just, it was everywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that whole area down there is just it's some kind of weird vibration. I don't know what it is. I guess it's from, all the battles and stuff that, it's battle scarred. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to
Very
share.
cool.
I know a lot of people like to hear about the Myrtles plantation and stuff. It really is haunted. We did catch pictures of the children. We did catch pictures of the nanny, or as she's known, the one that everybody tells the story of. We caught pictures of children, and we did catch a picture of, a soldier out on the property too. And it wasn't one from our group because we didn't identify him.
Hmm.
So it's truly got a bad vibration there too. But like I said, the whole town's got a bad vibration.
Yeah.
But thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming up.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. All right, guys, tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Send some hearts. Um, we've got to be careful about language on here. We've already had two keywords that TikTok doesn't care for. I think we're okay. I've seen it on other creators' lives, and I think it is sometimes okay. But um, just to make sure to protect the stream to keep it from like ending up in trouble or something, just tap the screen, send some hearts. That's the one way I know to mitigate it. We do want to be a little bit careful tonight, so we ask that guests, when you come up, please try to be a little bit mindful of how sensitive the AI is here on TikTok. We want to make sure that it's a safe environment for all ears. Anyone who might be wandering in, we want to make sure that we keep our language TikTok appropriate. That's how it goes. Their rules, not mine. Um, but yeah, please tap the screen, send some hearts. Let's get some people in here, get some ghost stories going. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. So the guest box is open. Feel free to hop in. We want to hear your paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories, glitch in the matrix stories if you have one. And if you have a Loch Ness monster story, I'd really like to hear that one especially. TikTok appropriate, right? I mean, what is like last week we got a not a banana, but we got a banana tossed at us. I don't know how to use code to avoid saying the word, but yeah, we got a little bit of trouble last week, so we got to be careful. Somebody said a really bad word last week and got a little problem going, but so we're
Yeah.
gonna be really careful tonight. Anytime something comes up, we'll just be sure to tap the screen, send some hearts, because that always protects the stream. That keeps us from going down. That lets TikTok know that we are still a safe and healthy environment for all ears. All
Oh,
right.
Large Tales with the Galaxy. Gee.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hello,
Hello,
Hannah.
welcome.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, I was kind of wondering how I was going to talk about this because I know we're talking about a whole bunch of different things, but it's kind of mixed with like a ghost story and then I guess aliens, which is weird. But I moved into my house 2 years ago, and the family that lives here, they were Buddhist and they were very spiritual. And they were older, and I felt very, very warm and comfortable in the home. And as a child growing up, my sisters and I, we've always been very attuned to spiritual. So we can always feel energies, we can see things, we can hear things, and we dream a lot. And my sisters always told me if you just say, like, I don't believe in this, it just goes away. So I always try to do that. But when I lived in this home, there was just so much warmth and it just felt great. Like the energy was amazing. And I was outside in the backyard gardening one day, and I was with my partner, and he was on the other side of the backyard, weed eating or something. And I felt somebody walk up to me, and I could hear the footsteps and everything. And it's quiet, beautiful Sunday morning. And I turn around, and it's like somebody just walked into me, and I just started crying and crying and crying. And my boyfriend came over and he said, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's just so much sadness." And I just said, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like everything's okay." And whatever it was went away. And we found out the next day that the man who lived here passed away that day. And it was his garden that I was pretty much trying to like bring back to life. And so I started researching. I got really interested in how people were able to connect with spirits or ghosts, or like how, like what made this happen, like why me. So I started researching it a lot, and um, one night I had fell asleep thinking, man, I really wish like I knew more about this. So I ended up having a really vivid dream, and there was, I don't know if it was an alien, that's why I'm saying aliens, but um, there was this figure that came up to me and said, "I can tell you everything and you'll know everything if I touch you." And that just creeped me out. So in my dream, I said, okay, let's try it. Like, I want to learn more. I want to know what's going on. Like, I want to know what all of this supernatural stuff is about. And he ended up trying to come and meet me. And I just ran away, crying, scared. I hid. And mind you, I never knew what it looked like. It's just that fear of the unknown. And I said, "I'm sorry, like I'm not strong enough for this." And it was like I woke up in my bed and I can feel something walking up to me in the bedroom. And I said, "I can't do it. I can't do it. Just please just go away." And then it just disappeared. And I like ended up waking up my boyfriend because I was crying and freaking out. But it's just, I guess I wanted to share this story because I wanted to know if maybe there's more people who've had experience that are like a mixture of both, like ghost and ET.
Yeah, so I actually have some thoughts about that there's a connection, and there are some relatively famous UFO and extraterrestrial cases that kind of indicate that maybe there is a connection between the paranormal and extraterrestrials. And I personally, just my hot take on it, I think it makes the most sense that paranormal activity is actually some type of byproduct of extraterrestrial activity. Um, I could go down a rabbit hole talking about this, but in short, that's kind of what I think. Yeah, it's a big topic, but it makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from with that. Um, I won't share like any personal stories or whatever; it'd take too long, but yeah, definitely on the same page with you. And I know there are probably quite a few people here who possibly feel the same. Guys in the comments, feel free to chime in if you all have opinions on this, or if anybody. A lot of times when we get people on here who have like really unique experiences, we will discover that someone in the comments has a very similar encounter. So we'll get them to come up and like you guys can talk about it because that's like a good way to connect with people who are on like kind of the same wavelength there. But
Yeah, that would be awesome because I've always had very, very deep, crazy dreams about like alternate universes, aliens, like all of that. And it's like this time was just too real for me because I could feel it in my room. And I
mm,
said, "No, I can't do it." And ever since then, it's just been gone. Like, and I would love to get it back, which makes me believe it was something good, right? It had to be good energy if it's not threatening me anymore because I was so afraid. But I would like for that to come back. And it just feels like a gift is now gone. I'm like, no.
yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I would say, if you've ever tried like I don't know, like some occult practices like trance channeling and meditation and stuff like that, that may be a good way to kind of get back in touch with that level of, whatever it is that kind of brings that stuff around. But if anybody in the comments wants to weigh in on this, if you want to come up, let me know, jump up here. we usually we start getting really busy after midnight, so not everybody's here yet. But if you hang around in the comments for a little bit, I guarantee there'll be somebody come along that can probably like talk to you on this particular subject.
Okay,
And like
cool.
regression and stuff, yeah, past life regression. That's a good way to get in touch with other. I don't know. I hesitate to say like higher self or that type of thing, but um, let's see. Just giving it a second to see if anybody else wants to come up and weigh in on this. Yeah, I would say definitely hang out for a little bit. If you, especially if you're new here, we always have a lot of really cool people come up and share really interesting experiences, and I bet you will find somebody who is knowledgeable about this.
Okay, yeah. This is my first time joining the live. I was just flipping through a few lives and I'm going to tell you that background. I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to stay. What is that?" The background totally I didn't even it was just so cool. So, here I am.
Yeah, this is my holler goblin because I'm from Kentucky and I myself am a holler goblin. So we on Sunday and Monday nights we gather around the holler goblin and tell ghost
Okay.
stories.
So cool.
But I appreciate you coming up and sharing your story, and hopefully you'll hang around with us and listen to some more stories. And if you want to come back up at some point, feel free to hop back in the box.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Awesome, thank you. All right, guys, tap the screen, get some people in here. We got. Um, we're gonna be careful about
Oh,
saying things. Hello, welcome.
hello. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got a spooky story for us?
Yes. I call it like it happened to me when I was little. I can't explain it. I just call it the dunk dunk. I have no idea if that's whatever, but my family has this huge bucket that we would, whether we need to mop the floor, whether we needed to soak our feet in Epsom salt, whatever, we'd use the bucket. And every time you'd hit it, it would go don't, don't. And at the time, my father worked late at night and I was real little. And any time that you do anything in the basement, you would hear it come through the air vent right into my room. So I would be like late night asleep, I'd hear don't, don't. And I'd be like, oh, dad's back home from work. I just roll back over, go to sleep, whatever, right? Until one day that I knew dad didn't go to work that day. And I heard it. And I got up and I looked in my parents' room and I saw my mom sleep there. And I was real little, so I got up on my tippy toes so I could look over her and I saw my dad there. So there was nobody else. I don't have any siblings that live in the house. I looked over and I saw my dad there. And I'm just like, well, what what's downstairs? And then I heard it again. Don't, don't. I ran so fast back into my bed, and I just went to sleep. I didn't investigate or nothing. I don't know what that was, but if anybody has any ideas, let me know.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
have no idea. How about you, Chris?
I'm not too sure. That's interesting, though. That's definitely spooky.
Well, we appreciate you for coming up and sharing that with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank
You
you.
have a
Have a
good
good
day.
night.
Spooky.
Welcome
Hi
back.
again. Raj is here, and I remember I shared my near-death experience, and I was waiting for him, but I think I disconnected before he joined that day. So I thought, if you guys didn't mind, if I could share that story again and see what his take on it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a couple of years ago. Actually, it's pretty long ago, really. But about 7 years ago, I was having a C-section, and I told the doctor that my the pain medicine wasn't working, and I could feel everything. And she said that I couldn't, and so I just kind of suffered through it. And when they got to her and they pulled her shoulders out of me, is when I felt it the most, and it hurt so bad it put me in shock. And since I was going into shock, my body started pumping out more blood than it needed to, and I started, I guess, bleeding to unalive. And I'll just leave out the nonsense parts. But anyway, so from when I heard them yelling and telling other people to leave the room, I didn't feel anything but kind of tired at this point and cold. And I turned my head and closed my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I was in a totally different place. I was laying on the floor of, it wasn't a floor, it was a dirt floor of this like mud hut. And it was really hot in there, but not uncomfortable. It was just like enough to break me out a sweat on my forehead. I could feel it. I could feel the sand against my face, and I could smell a sweet burning wood. And behind me was this voice that was neither, like, voices you can always usually pick out if it's male or female, but this one, I couldn't distinguish what it was. It was just talking to me in a language I couldn't understand. And I just laid against the sand, sweating, smelling the smoke, listening to this voice. And as the voice kept talking, I slowly began to understand certain words until, in a sentence I could completely understand, it said, "You can stay and understand, or you can go." And I thought about it for a second, and I said, "I want my baby." And as soon as I said that, I opened my eyes, and there was a sheet pulled over my face. So I pull it down, and I look over, and there's a nurse holding my baby, and she sees me and screams. And I said, "Can I have my baby?" And she's like, yeah, let me go get the doctor. And this doctor had taken care of me for years. And when she comes back in, she had been crying, and she was like, "You bled out. We couldn't save you. There was nothing I could do. I don't understand. I don't understand how you're still here." And I had been gone for 17 minutes. And I told this story last time, and everybody told me to talk to Lodge, and I just wanted to get Lodge's opinion on it and where I went or what was going on.
Yeah, so I don't know if Lodge was. Oh, okay, he's in the box.
Yeah,
Hey.
Lots
it
meals.
sounds like you went to that. Like I would say just outside of that place, that where people call, they have all different names for it. We call it the Sand Hills, but I think that's probably where you went, and because we a lot of times don't know who's gonna help bring us over. This is how just my belief, right? Our beliefs in our tribe. We don't really know. It's kind of uncertain. It's not always your family, but that's exactly what that sounds like to me. Is that you were close to making the journey, but when things ain't meant to be, they can intervene, right? Those spirits can intervene, and they can stop it from happening, and they can send you back. But if you're meant to go through that, you wouldn't have been able to come back. So for whatever reason, that was a mistake that happened in your life. It was fixable. It wasn't something that was permanent or you were meant to go through. Those are just my thoughts, right? But the those spirits, they don't need to, there's no language barrier with them. So that was really interesting to me when you said you couldn't understand what it was saying, because that's to me saying another sign saying you weren't ready to go over yet, because they don't need that. They don't even need to use words. They can use an old dialect, you know, on the flip side of the coin that nobody in this world understands anymore, but you'd understand it when if it talked it to you, you know. So it's really interesting how they could communicate. They don't even need to use words. It could be, what do they call that? Mind speak, I guess. But they don't even need words to communicate with you either. But that's what that sounds like to me, because I've never shared these stories here, but I've had I don't know what other people call it, but it's when you leave your body and you travel places. That's happened to me before, you know. Geez, like 4 times. But anyways, in one of these times, this it's gonna sound crazy, but this magpie was talking to me too. It was a spirit, but it didn't even use words. It just used its body, and I knew exactly what it was saying when they were talking to me. But I was in their land. I was in that spirit world with them, that place, wherever that's at. All I can say is it's freaking beautiful over there, man. It's awesome. It's more than we can ever understand or take in with our earthly mind and all that. It's way more, because it's not just how it looks, it's how it feels. There's something that grabs you when you're there, and it's beautiful. It's all I can say. But anyways, that's what that sounds like to me, is that you could have went. And when they say, okay, you can stay and understand, in my experience, um, this is a separate time it's happened to me, but I God, I don't even want to tell this story because it's kind of crazy. But when I traveled, I guess you'd say that's what we call it, is traveled. But when I traveled one time, I was in an in between place. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I felt everything again. Like, this is gonna really sound nuts, but I remember this. I felt the life force of this blade of grass across the known universe, and I knew that life force. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It sounds crazy, but it's almost like you get plugged back into like to the collective. I don't know how else to say it. And so I think that's what it was talking about. You can understand again if you stay, but if not, you got to go back. That's just my thoughts, and I'm sorry I'm talking crazy because I never share these things with people. These things, they're kind of personal, but since you asked and you waited, I thought I'd give you a little more than I'm comfortable sharing. But that's what I think. I think it was a mistake, and they sent you back.
Thank you. So you think it was like, did I go to the after place or did I go to an in between place?
I don't think you went all the way over, because honestly, when you go all the way over, it's so hard to come back because of how it is there. You automatically know. It's like this. Like, when we're here, we have the hardest time processing somebody passing away. Losing a loved one is really hard for us, especially a parent. If any of y'all lost parents, you probably know what I'm talking about. That, or a kid, that's the hardest thing to go through, is to lose that for us here. Once you get over there, you realize, like, wait a minute, that's that's just how it is. It's not. Do you cry for the leaves that fall off of a tree every year? Because they'll fall off of that tree, they'll land on the ground. Eventually, the soil will take the nutrients from it, feed the tree again, and those leaves will sprout again in another year. It's just a cycle. And that's exactly how it is with passing away. And you understand that when you get there. It's not this big deal anymore. But since we're here and we have all these emotional attachments to things, we feel the loss really deep too, to the point where it makes us sick. But when you're there, you understand it all, and you realize that, hey, this ain't the end. It keeps going. And so that's what I'm saying. If you felt that, you'd probably know, hey, I was there because I didn't want to come back. Because of I don't know how to say it, the feeling of it. It's not just the sight, it's the feeling of it. Because the things that you see when you're there are they're crazy. They're the craziest things you'll ever see. I mean, beautiful though. Like, This, for instance, I seen this huge tree. It was the biggest tree I've ever seen in my life, and that's how their trees looked. It was so big that on the top of the tree was kind of like this flat area before the branches kept going out, and in the middle of that, it was another little minor ecosystem with different species of trees coming up from that. It was beautiful. I mean, this place was awesome, but I'm just saying you would know if you went all the way over. That's why I don't think you did. I think you were like about to take the journey, but they sent you back for whatever reason. And who was that spirit? That could have been one of your helpers in your life. We all have them, whether we believe them or not. Some people call them guardian angels. We just refer to them as helpers, and they could be ancestors. They don't even necessarily have to be human either. Like, I'll share one more personal thing just to make the point. There's this guy that in my tribe that he can't turn it off. He sees those spirits and he can't turn that off. They always come. When we buried my dad, I was really distraught, man. I was blind. I couldn't see anything, like, I mean, figuratively, I was blinded by my grief. I was just so self-consumed with my loss. It was hard. So once he went into the ground, he come and he told me, and this was about a year later, and he said, Rod, he says, that day we buried your dad, he said, there was a lot of spirits there. I said, yeah. He says, they all left. They all went back over. He says, but one stayed behind, and he took your dad over with them. He says, and that spirit was a crane. He says, I don't know why it was a crane, but it was. That's the spirit that stayed and took your dad over. So see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be any kind of spirit. There's multiple spirits, right? There's elemental kind, there's animals, there's humans. But that's what I'm saying is who was that person? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I think it was just simply one of your helpers that was there for you when you get over there. See, because not everybody will have that guidance either, depending on how you go. Like, say it was a sudden car accident and you were like blacked out, you were already inebriated, and you basically wake up dead. Sounds funny and confused. You don't know what the heck's going on. You might be lost until you kind of gather your bearings, I guess, or people send you prayers or guidance, and then you can get on that road. But eventually, we all go back to the light. Eventually, in our way, we don't believe in that. I don't know if you can say that word here, but it's HELL. We don't believe in that in our way. We believe it's just that one place you go to, and there's different words for heaven, Valhalla, all these different words for it. But so yeah, I just think that was one of your helpers, and you weren't meant to go yet.
Thank you
So
so much for this. It's comforted me. Like, I had the feeling, but if I have native blood, I haven't been exposed enough to the culture to understand it. And I don't know, it's just made me feel so much better hearing you talk about it.
that's really an interesting story, though. I have another friend I talked to that's had a near-death experience, but you know what she calls it? She calls it a, oh, I don't think we can say that. She calls it a passing away experience, not a near passing away experience, because she actually passed away, you know. And after that is when her, how would I say it, her sensitivity levels picked way up. She was able to see more and realize more paranormal things were going on around her after
Mine
that
too.
experience. Yeah, that don't surprise me one bit. I totally believe that when you do go and you come back, something happens. I don't know what it is. Something happens to where it makes you more aware of things. Because there are people that go through this world with blinders on. Their minds are kind of stuck in one lane. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what they're supposed to experience. You know, I we all love the atheists. Atheists are awesome. Agnostic, they're awesome people. They think that they got one chance and they're gonna live their life to the best. Those are good people. then there's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you so much for this. It was very comforting and it really helped me understand better.
Sure. Well, I'm glad I could make some sense of it. It was an interesting story. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me and letting me share that again and talking to him. That was super helpful for me.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Spooky.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's my sharing for tonight too. I think I'm gonna jump down.
Alrighty. I was gonna ask you if you wanted to tell us some stories, but yeah, those are good. So we appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
See ya.
Very interesting stuff.
Thank you guys for all the gifts. Let's see. They have been waiting for quite a while. Let me get her up here.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi, yeah. I'm back. I wrote down a few stories that I remembered and thought I'd come and join.
Awesome.
Awesome. Oh, give
Oh,
her a sec.
yeah, she went off the app.
There she is.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I have it like in a little notepad on my phone, so that's what I did. Okay. All right. Let's see. This one's kind of interesting. So I used to have all kinds of experiences where I would like interact with people and I'd have conversations with them or do things with them that they later would say never happened, or vice versa. They would tell me about things that we did together or had a conversation about, and I'm like, we never did that. And I kind of thought I was going crazy. I don't know if this is like a Mandela effect or something, but the thing that kind of proved it for me was when I was in college, my partner at the time bought me a Nintendo 64 because I didn't have any video games growing up, and I've always wanted one. So, and this was like in 2009 when it was way outdated, but you know, I was excited. But there's a glitch in Mario 64 on the never-ending staircase where if you like long jump backwards, you can get past it without all the stars, and you can go and beat Bowser. Well, I was asking my partner at the time, I was like, hey, how do you beat this? How do you do the long jump? Because I heard about it. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're the one who showed me how to do it. Which is not even possible because I never had that game. I always wanted to play it. I had no idea. So it makes me think that, okay, I'm not crazy. So what is it? Like, it's so weird that I'm having these, you know, what we just talked about this yesterday. What are you talking about? And my friend would be like, no, we didn't. I don't know. I don't know what that could be. I just, yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. I have more stories. Should I tell some more or should I let somebody else have the spotlight?
Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead if you want to share a few more.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna go out of the app really quick. Okay. All right. So I used to have I don't know what they're called. I know there's like clairvoyant, claircognizant, but different abilities where I could feel things. Sometimes I could see things. And on one of the college campus, I could feel like this really intense energy. I used to call it fiery. I didn't necessarily meant that it was on fire. It was just a very vibrant energy. And we had a paranormal group on campus called the Otherworld Society. And I met somebody there who would talk about how they could astral project and they had very intense abilities as well. And we were just talking, and without me saying anything, he said that he also felt like this spot was fiery. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're on the same page. That's cool. Let me get your number so we can talk about paranormal stuff. There was one night we were texting back and forth, and I put my phone down and I didn't see the text, but he had asked me. He was like, "Hey, can I astral project to you?" Well, again, I did not see that because I was not looking at my phone. I'm just kind of watching TV, and all of a sudden it hits me like a brick wall. It's just very intense. Like, oh my God, somebody's watching me. Somebody's right next to me, and I look to my side, and I see like it's hard to describe. kind of a blank silhouette of a bust, like the shoulders and top of the head. Like there's nothing in the middle, but if you can picture, like if somebody were to have a bunch of heat around them, you know how you can see like it's like the air is kind of wavy around them. That's what it looked like. And it moved. It like was right next to me, and then it kind of moved away, and then it disappeared. And I was like, "What the heck?" It was insane. So I go to stand up, and I instantly fall and stumble into the chair next to me. So how I understand it is I had been psychically drained, or yes, psychically drained, which is not a thing I ever experienced before. I didn't even know what that was. Oh, it was so intense. Like, anyway, so after that, I look at my phone and I see that he messaged me that. I was like, "Hey, was that you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just went ahead and did it," which was insane. And I told him that what I was feeling, like how I was so drained, I couldn't even stand. I've never, what happened? And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I had to." He said there was something in my kitchen, and he had to borrow some of my energy to help protect himself, which there was something in my kitchen. I didn't know what. I just knew there was something creepy in there, and I never told him about it. So I was like, "What?" Now I believed him. Obviously, I had like a really intense experience, but I knew that if I retold this story, people might want a little more proof. So I asked him what I was wearing, and he told me for every detail, like what color my pants were, what color my shirt was, and all that. Yeah, it was pretty intense. I was drained for like a day and a half after that before I start to feel kind of normal again. So
That is unnerving for sure. Wow.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like I've lost contact with him. I don't even remember his name, but I really want to know what practices he was into to have that immense power to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, did you have something? I saw your
Uh,
box light up.
oh no, that's wild. I mean, geez, talk about Riz. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Alrighty, well, very cool. Did you have any more you want to share with us?
I mean, I've got a ton, but I don't want to take up the spotlight. How about one more, and then I'll go after that. Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, let me check my app again. Hold on. Okay, sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, I've got two good ones. Well, you guys were just talking about aliens. I guess I could do that one. I've seen a ton of UFOs, by the way. I've seen like disappearing eggs. I've seen things really close to the ground that had like stalagmites on it. It was weird looking, but that's not the story I want to tell. I was reading up on aliens. Like, I got super excited about aliens at some point in my life. And I was reading how like a lot of times I don't remember the details, just like they could be here on Earth and like going through like Walmart or something, just every day. Like we would never suspect. So I used to walk around Walmart, and just kind of think in my head every time I would pass somebody, I'd be like, "Alien, are you an alien? Alien." And one time, somebody responded. They just flipped their head back at me so fast, and they had this look of shock on their face. And I didn't know what to do after that because I wasn't expecting anything to work. And they might not have been an alien, but they definitely like heard me in my head. Anyway, so like we were kind of turning corners, so we were walking opposite directions. Later, I was checking out, and he was in the lane next to me, and he comes. Me and this dude did not exchange any words at all. Just the whole surprised look around, turn around at me, like, "What did you say?" And again, he didn't say anything. He just gave me the look. But while we were checking out, when he's done checking out, he comes all the way over to me and looks at me and says, "Have a good day," and then just leaves. And I'm just like, why would you say that if we had no interaction at all? Like, I've never seen you before in my life. So obviously you heard that in my brain. And so, are you an alien? Are you like, could you just read my mind? Like, but it was interesting. All he bought was lettuce. I was trying to pay attention to what he was buying. It was just a bag of lettuce.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I've never had a story like that up here.
Oh,
Actually, that's
cool.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to try it, see if you get something. I don't know. Okay. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to come back and definitely hang out with us tonight and listen to some more stories.
Oh, I will. This is an awesome channel. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
You too.
All right. Everybody tap the screen, send some likes. Um, let's see. Uh, I think they've been waiting for quite a while too. Right?
Yeah.
Hello, darlings.
Hello and
Hello.
welcome.
Hello, thank you. No, I've been in here before, and I told you I'd come back and give you some more stuff. I remember a time when we lived in, I don't think this is one of the ones I told you before. It might be, I don't remember. But anyways, we lived in an old Victorian farmhouse. And I remember one night, I had something like that like jumped up on my bed and then it jumped up on my chest. I was probably about, I want to say 10 years old. And it got up on my chest, right in my face. And the only way I can describe it is that it was like between a troll and a gargoyle. And it looked like that. And it had long arms and long, skinny fingers. And it put both of its hands over my mouth. And I remember being so terrified. And I'm trying to scream, but I can't scream. I can't. I can almost like I can hear myself screaming, but nothing's coming out. And it seemed like this went on for about an hour. That this thing was sitting on my chest and wouldn't let my screams be heard. Well, years later, um, me and my sister reunited, and I was talking to her. We were just speaking with each other, and we were talking about the old farmhouse. And I said, I had the weirdest thing happen to me, Robin, when I was younger, when we lived in that farmhouse. She goes, oh, I had quite a few experiences myself. And she asked me what one of mine was. And I told her about the little creature that hopped up on my chest and put its hand over my mouth. And she goes, you have got to be kidding me. She goes, you have got to be kidding me right now. She said, I had the same thing happen. And I'm like, wow. And she goes, yeah. She goes, it wouldn't let me scream. She goes, it's like I could hear myself screaming, but no one else could hear me screaming because it had its hands over my mouth. So not only did I experience that, but my sister did too. And then there's another story I have is that where I was 4 and I fell in a pool. Actually, I got pushed in a pool and I drowned. And the lady that saw it happen, it was on her property. She came running out and she pulled me out of the water. Well, what's weird about this is that I didn't realize that that happened to me until I was in my 20s, but I kept having a recurring dream over and over and over again that all I could see is a hand reaching in the water and pulling me out. And I kept having that dream over and over right into my adult life. And then I finally mentioned to my mother one day that I said, I don't know what this is. I had this dream again last night, Mom. And I've had this since I was little. And I said, I've never told anybody about it. And I'm going to tell you about it now because I just had it again last night. And that is that I keep having this recurring dream that I drowned and that the lady, our neighbor, came out and saved me. Well, I seen a hand is what I told her. I seen a hand. And then she told me about I was over at the neighbor's pool with my brother and sister. My sister actually pushed me in the pool, and the neighbor came out and got me, and she took and pulled me out of the water and did CPR on me. But it's just weird that I kept having those dreams of that, and I not knowing what really happened or if it was just a dream, until my mother told me that no, that really did happen. You drowned, you died, and the lady, you actually passed away, and the lady saved you and did CPR on you. Yeah.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it wild? But I've had
Yeah.
all kinds of things happen here. Do you want me to tell you another quick short one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Another one is that about a year and a half ago, here in the house that me and my husband bought, I kept seeing almost like what the girl explained that was on before, that almost like that ripple effect in the air, like when you see heat in the air, or like hot tar. You're driving down the road and it's really hot, and you see that ripple effect from the heat coming off the tar.
Yeah.
I see a round circle of that in my house. It was for 5 days straight. I kept seeing this great big round circle of this ripple floating around my house. And sometimes it would go up next to my husband. And it got to the point when I would be watching it, and then I'd see it go over to him and like be next to him, and he goes, "Are you seeing it again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm seeing it again." But it was for 5 days straight that happened, and I could never figure out who it was or what it was or where it came from or anything. It was just weird. And I'm the same person that showed you the picture of the little girl ghost that I got in my living room one night. I took and showed you guys that picture. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yep. But those are that. So, yeah, just some interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Very cool. Very,
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Lodge Tale spoiling us tonight.
uh, let's see. All right. Everybody tap the screen, send some likes. Let's try to get the stream up a little higher in likes, get it out there in the algorithm, get some people in here. Real quick, if you want to join the Discord with us, where we have all of the extra fun outside of the streams, and we also do little bitty streams over there where we just do like, little intimate conversations in the voice chat and video chat. Hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere on the bottom of the screen. It's a little star. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get access to the Discord. We'd really like to get all of our like our closest community over there. I think that'd be really cool, so we could share like ghost stories and pictures and videos and all that type of stuff. We have a really good time. It's a lot of fun. You also get access to the emojis and stuff like that here on the stream, and we're going to be doing tarot readings very soon, so I think that's going to be exciting and fun. Looking forward to that. Also, Chris, I need to be like promoting Chris a little more. If you guys like horror movie stuff, you definitely want to follow Chris. Send him some love because he's such a good co-host and he's always here. He's usually 2 or 3 minutes late, fashionably late in fashionable Chris fashion.
Oh my gosh.
But we love Chris, guys, so you gotta send him some love too. Also, let's see what else. I have a new video posted, and TikTok does not like my new video apparently because I didn't push it out to my followers. So if you guys want to go over to my page, follow me, turn on post notifications, and check out my new video, which I think is a very cool story about the Bracken Devil. By the way, I think it's a super cool story. Definitely check that out. And real quick, just wanted to throw all that out there. I've got a little list of things that I need to be kind of throwing out more often. Anyway, guest box is open. Well, we've got some people coming in, but we want to keep getting people in here all night. And I saw somebody ask what nights are we on and what time. We're on here Sunday and Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. Also Eastern, of course. Hello, Ali. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Just
How are
after
you doing?
this, are you finished, Sarah? Tell them all.
You're on a
I think
roll.
yeah, I think I got it all. I hope. I don't know.
Well, it was a quiet day today. But Friday I had a weird experience. So, um, before I get to helping other people get their questions answered, I wanted to share this while it's like still a doozy. Um, so I went to a new place, I think towards Richmond. Um, yeah, so towards like Katy area, I would say. I went with a coworker. They were just taking me to this new cafe, I guess, a new joint, whatever. We were just gonna chill and eat. We left work early. And this happened on Friday. Okay. So everything was nonchalant. It was a normal day, no spookiness, no nothing. And then all of a sudden, like, I'll tell you the details of it. So it was just about two of us. It was just me and Sonia, my coworker. Um, and we were just sitting down, we're just debriefing basically after a day of meeting. And so, is that me? Huh. Oh, I was like, what is that? No, it was a day of meetings. Basically, um, we had, we were just there. We took in our first order of first rounds of coffee, and we're waiting on another coworker, to join us. And then, my other coworker that was with me, she went off to the restroom and went to say hi to someone she knew. So I'm just there on my phone, like for a minute or two. And then, like, out of nowhere, someone is just swinging by and says hi. And I said hi too. So where is Werewolf, by the way? I want I this is like, I think it's because of him. This is Juju right here that did this. So this lady, she was dressed very nicely, colorful, and had like the, like, like she was I feel like maybe she was very cultural, but her hat seemed old. But anyways, she was just telling me hi. She was sitting down. She was like, "Can I have a seat here? It's really nice here." So I'm just conversing with this lady. I was like, "Sure." I mean, we have four seats. Two will be occupied. Hi. What brings you to this table? And I'm like, she was just like saying to me, like, "Hey, I like your energy and everything. You seem very nice. I'm glad you can see me. A lot of people don't." I'm like, "Oh, that sucks. I feel like that sometimes too." Remember, all of this is going over my head. I am like tired from that day. It was a very rough Friday. So I am like not giving 2 cents of extra thought. And I thought this person was just like wanting to say hello, you know? I just have those friendly things about me. I guess it helps me become a therapist. That's a good therapist. I don't know. But this lady was just saying, yeah, a lot of people don't see me. I'm glad you do. And I was like, yeah, I mean, well, what's up? How are you today? I had a very rough work day. We were just having this little mundane conversation. And this conversation went on for like about like good, maybe I feel like 5 minutes. And well, she's like, then before she gets up and leaves, and I don't know, for the life of me, like, I just, I saw a text message pop on my phone saying that my other coworker was on their way, and I was like, oh. I look, right, and I look back, and I don't know when she got up. I never heard the chair move, but she got up again. I'm not really giving this a second thought. um and then she's like, well, it was so nice talking to you. And you know what? And she was just saying this weird thing. She's like, someone better will come into your life. What was not meant to be. So I am glad your path is cleansed, and may you stay blessed. That is what she said before she left. And then the next thing she said was, well, goodbye. And I kind of felt she didn't touch me or anything like that, but just that's it. Just a little cold air. Again, I thought it was the AC or something like that. So again, she just leaves, and that's it. And here's the thing, I was like, wait, what the hell? Because now my mind is coming back. I took a couple sips of coffee now. My mind is coming back. I'm like, wait a minute, what does she mean by that? Because I never told this lady anything about, my breakup. And I haven't told anybody actually, even on this app. Like, yes, my engagement broke like around a week and a half ago. So that's what basically was kind of like felt heavy hearted. But that's what I think she was referring to. And I was like, wow, well, that was nice of her to say. But she left. Now, here's the thing. I look back after I kind of recollected. It took me a minute to get my mind straight. And then I was like, whoa. I look back and where's she at? She's not there. At anywhere. Anywhere. We have this nice, it's a new spot. There's nothing else. There's like a nice clean parking lot. And I'm just like, what? Where'd she go? And who was that? And so my friend Sonia, she comes back and everything, and I'm just looking at her literally with like these wowed dead eyes, like I've seen a ghost. And and this is coming from me. And she's like, what happened? I was like, did you see someone sitting over here? She's like, I didn't see anybody. I was like, there was a lady sitting right here and they were talking to me. She was like an African American lady. She was just talking to me right here. Did you not see her? She's like, no, I looked, you were on your phone, and I thought you were probably talking to somebody on your phone, because she saw me talking to someone, and and she thought I had my headphones on. My headphones weren't on. And so basically I had a little ghostly experience from a random kind lady spirit. I don't know who she was. But yeah, that was weird, and I didn't really even feel it. But I mean, honestly, something about it maybe felt a little, probably a connection to hoodoo or something like that. I feel like she was a light worker in her life. She was a healer of some sort. And basically she was just very kind. And I'm familiar with some of the spirits that are guidances, like, my regular guidance spirits. But this experience was so random. This place is new. I don't know if it was built on something haunted, but like the last time when my second coworker, the third party joined us, and I'm still in awe, and she's just like, I didn't really tell my coworker the entire story, as to what, because we had some business to talk about, and we were ordering our second round of stuff, and I kind of looked back, like I went to the restroom and I was coming back, and I kind of saw her, that same figure, the lady, the same face, across the street, across the road, like, under this tree, this very old oak tree. And then she was just waving from there, and I was just like, I don't know. I think I was rude. I didn't wave back, but I was just looking at her, and I was like, you changed your dress. And I'm just shocked. And I'm just like, okay. And I kind of just, put my hand up like this. Like I'm about to, like, say ta-ta. And, like I'm just like in a very doozy state right now. Like I'm just like, what is happening? My energy's like all over the place. And then that's it. That's it. She just, some like a literally like a movie, Sarah and Chris. A cars, bunch of just cars just pass by, and then there's nothing there. That's it. And that happened on Friday. Didn't feel that was just weird.
Yeah, I hope Werewolf was here to hear that story, by the way. He was in here earlier. I saw him pop in, but I don't know if he's still here. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of some of the experiences he's had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is so like random, but like I mean, I really didn't think too much of it. And honestly, I'm just like I'm like blah. Like I'm just in like this mood. I'm just working. I'm just taking care of my own self. And so I really feel like that when I get the strength, I'm gonna go back to that coffee shop with Sonia, and then I'm gonna see what's going on in the area. Maybe there was a gravesite close by. Chris, you were saying something.
Oh no, I wasn't. I was just listening. I was just gonna say, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that happened literally Friday. But I felt a little comfort after that. It was really nice to hear someone, like something like that from the other side. Just because
Yeah.
I hear it from my family, I was like, oh, whatever happened was for the best. And I'm like, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, yeah, I know, but damn it, I was like looking forward to all this in the fall and everything. But I was like, whatever. Good thing I'm a psychologist. I'm getting over things faster.
Yeah, I'm sorry
Yeah.
that you had to go through that, Ollie, and I hope that you do feel better soon. And yeah, it's true. Things happen for a reason sometimes, and um,
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm actually like a lot better than I thought somebody else would be. And it's probably just because of that. Maybe it was just things were not really meant to be. And at this point, I'm just a little relief. I'm just like doing me. So I'm cool. I'm chilling. So, but thank you everyone for their support. And just real quick before I hop off, because I want people to come up here. Um, People that were saying that they felt like energy was stolen from them. There are people that do that. There's certain practitioners who may have the ability to do so. So be careful the company you keep. Um, some people will ask permissions, and um, as Lodge was saying, that astral projection can lead to interdimensional energy connection. That is why some people will feel like in that world that they go into, it's going to be a different experience, something that they feel somewhere from across the universe. It happens. It's rare, but it does happen. And that's what it's just called. It's interdimensional energy connection. It's not even really like it's like a paranormal term, I would say. But yeah, yeah, I just been kneeling, and that was my spookiness for this most recent spookiness that happened. But yeah, I mean, I didn't feel a bad presence from her, but I would like to know if I can find out more about her. Who was
mhm.
she? Because that was quite random. And yeah, I need to chill out because that day on Friday drained me. And so I couldn't even tell if this person was like alive or not, which doesn't really happen to me like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's intense for sure. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us. And if you do find out who she is, which I hope you can, because that might be really interesting to know. Oh, thank you, Cat Mama. Definitely come back and tell us, or tell us in the Discord since you're in the Discord.
Yeah, I will. It's like I think I'm gonna probably take it a little wee easy this week. So I'm probably gonna go back because they did have some good food, and I want to try some of the things that I did not try. But definitely, it's a good excuse to go back over there to Katy area and double check what was going on. Yeah, it was just a crazy, crazy week last week. So, but yeah, I'm around if y'all have any questions. Just call upon me. I'm hanging out. Bye.
We will summon you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you, Ali.
Bye.
All right. Ollie's
Right,
great.
guys? Yeah, Ollie is great. We love Ollie. Bigfoots. Somebody in the comments got a Bigfoot story? I want to hear it. All right, everybody, tap the screen. Get some people in here. More hearts means more people means more ghost stories.
Welcome, Tracy.
No.
Who's that? Hello, welcome.
Who's that? Boyfriend? Oh, shut the fuck up. Who was? Who was that?
Tap the screen, send some hearts, get some people in here, guys. We're gonna need to fill that box up again, everybody. If you have a story to share, feel free to hop in the box and come up and tell us the story. Let's not do the Jerry Springer stuff tonight, guys. I can't.
Pull it together, Sarah. We got a show to run here.
You pull it together. No, yeah.
What?
I don't know. Yeah. So, yes. 200 people in here. Somebody's got a story to tell. My earbuds are falling out. Ramble about something for us, Chris. We love it when you ramble.
Oh man. Well, we had a lot of guests, but we had a lot of them drop out, unfortunately. But yeah, somebody needs to come up here. Anybody have a story you want to tell? Feel free to join. We're all ears, and we love hearing spooky stories, right, Sarah?
Absolutely. And let's see.
Oh, it's Cat Mama.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Ali, thank you for sharing that story because something like that happened to me. Only, I was at a very low point in my life and I was very depressed. And I used to commute to a job via the train. So, it's 5 days a week. And, one morning I was commuting and I was just really depressed and there's a lady and she's like across from me and she just looks up. She looked a little disheveled, I'm not gonna lie, but she looked up at me and she said to me, "It's gonna be okay, you're gonna be all right." And she got off at the stop right before the stop for my job, and I never saw this woman ever again. And if you're commuting 5 days a week, it's usually the same people, you know, also commuting. But I never saw that lady ever again. And I thought that was pretty weird. But thank you for sharing that story, Ali, because it just reminded me of that, of my experience.
I wonder how often do we in our everyday lives run across things like that and maybe we just don't even notice, Maybe sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
Cat Mama, you gonna hang out for a little bit?
Oh.
I am. I couldn't get the button to go off. Yeah, I'm gonna hang out for a little bit.
Alrighty, sounds good. I'm gonna get Harry up here. I bet Harry's got a ghost update for us.
Harry.
And I'm gonna grab some coffee too.
Go for it.
Really ghost update. Nothing going on tonight. But
no ghost update?
nothing tonight. Sorry. But this was a few years ago, actually quite a while ago. I was like maybe 18 years old. My uncle was big into raccoon hunting, and he invited me to go out with him. And we went out, and we were out for a few hours anyway. We were walking back up, and it took us probably an hour to walk back because we were out quite a few miles out. And the dogs would perk up, and they'd look at the wood line, and anytime we would stop, we could hear something snapping brush and stuff that was behind us, kind of stalking us or creeping behind us. We never saw it. You know, we had these big headlamps on, like miner's lights. You could really see it just turn, night into day. And we never saw anything, but every time we would walk and we'd stop real quick, you could hear it walking behind us, just inside the tree line. Never knew what it was. Again, never saw it, but it was enough to spook you, you know what I mean? And the dogs
Yeah.
would alert to it. So yeah, I've always thought about what it could have been. Was it a Bigfoot? Was it a cryptid? Or was it just a coyote? Or maybe, who knows, there's wolves in the area too. They could have been following us. I don't know. But there was definitely something around. And it was spooky. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. Holy cow.
But that was all I had.
Alrighty. Well, did you want to hang out, or you want me to just drop you down, or?
I'll hang out if you don't care. It don't matter to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and bring up the next guest.
Hello, it's me again.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey, thanks. I was gonna back off from what Harry just said. It made me remember when we lived in that old farmhouse up in the mountains. We took and had a lake. There was a front entrance that a lot of people used to go to. The front entrance, they'd go up and make it a weekend and go up to Tunk Lake and go into the lake. Well, up in the hills where we lived, a little bit further up in the mountain, we found a path one time that went to the back side of the lake that a lot of people didn't know about. And we had our own little private like beach there where we could go, and it was just like being on Gilligan's Island, really. That's what it felt like. And this path was probably about a quarter of a mile long, and it was in like thick forest, really, really thick forest. And I can remember hearing sounds like that. And every once in a while, when we'd all go down, walk down through the path, we would all stop and we'd be like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And you could hear, and the minute we'd stop, you'd hear maybe a couple more steps or crackling, and then it would stop. And I remember one time going back home, nobody wanted to walk back to the house with me, and I had to go by myself up through that path. And I remember hearing that. I could remember hearing like something behind me off on the side in the woods. And I could hear the crunching and the snapping of the leaves and stuff. And I started running. And then I could hear whatever was behind me and off to the side. I could hear it start running. And it scared the crap out of me. And I stopped and I looked around and I couldn't see anything. And the weirdest thing, it was weird. I can't remember the movie with that alien in it that could cloak itself. What is that? Does anyone remember what that movie is? I think it might have had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. I don't know.
Predator?
Huh?
Predator?
It might have been. It's where that
Yeah.
alien it could cloak itself and be invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I swore, and this is. I'm 60 years old, and I was a little kid when this happened. And I swear, when I seen that movie and that alien cloaking like that, that's the only thing I could think. Oh, kitty, kitty. That's the only thing I could think of is that movie. And when I was a little kid and seeing what I saw, is that it was almost like I could see something, but it was like transparent. And all my brain goes to as an adult now, well, was that an alien or was that like Bigfoot that was just being cloaked or what was it? You know? I just couldn't, I was just like, mm. And I was going to tell Ollie too. I was going to tell him if he goes back to that restaurant, walk around if you can and see if you can find any pictures on the wall and see if they have like old vintage pictures or something on the wall. And maybe that lady that you encountered might be in one of those pictures, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep. Or it might have been a previous owner of the building or something, maybe. Yep.
Yeah, somebody
It's
there might know her, especially like if there are older people around that have been in the area for a while too. That might be a good way to
mm-hmm. And
look
sometimes
at it.
it's really cool looking into the history, especially if it's an old building and you have an experience like that and looking through old archives or something.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I just wanted to let you tell you that stuff.
Yeah, that's a spooky story. There's something really, really unsettling about having to go into the woods by yourself at night, even if it's to walk a path like that. So kudos to you. I don't know if I could do that by myself.
Hey, Rachel.
And you don't think of things like that. And I wasn't exposed. We didn't watch a lot of TV, when I was growing up. We just didn't. The most things my parents would watch is like back in the day was like Carol Burnett and shows like that, and Gilligan's Island and stuff like that. I mean, but there were times that we didn't even have a TV at all in our house, you know? So we just had a radio or something. But yeah, I thought that was really weird and that always bothered me growing up of what that was. Yep.
Harry, did you want to add something?
I wanted to ask Rachel a question about her what she talked about before with the dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my wife, she has dreams that come true a lot, and she was asking you once you found out what actually happened, did the dream stop?
Um, about what dream? Trying to
Your
think.
When you were in the pool with your neighbor, was that you?
Yes, 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 it did. Yes.
That's what she asked in there in the comments. You must not have saw it, but she has a lot of dreams that come true, a
Mm-hmm.
lot, and they keep reoccurring, and so that she asked if it stopped once you found out, or
Mm-hmm.
once you found out exactly what happened.
Yep, it did. It stopped altogether. I've never had one since. After me
Okay.
and my mother had that conversation, and she explained to me, it was like in my dreams, it was trying to tell me that this had happened, So a premonition of like, and then my mother acknowledging it, So that could be a very empathic thing that she has, you know, that some people can foretell what's to come. I've had dreams like that before. I can't, and this is so sad. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember I had a dream about something, and me and my husband was driving in town, and I told him, I said, "Well, you can't do that because if you do that, something's going to happen." And I no more than said that, and he didn't do it, and something happened where we would have gone. And he goes, "How did you know that? How did you?" I said, I just did. I knew it, you know. But yeah, she could be very gifted if she doesn't know it already.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever really, until she started listening to me talk about, all the paranormal stuff and everything like that, and what I have heard on this channel. And she just recently joined and's been listening.
Hmm.
I don't think she went off to bed now, but she
What
go ahead.
What are some of her dreams about? Are they horrific to her, or are they just like premonition dreams? What kind of dreams are they?
Premonition dreams. Most of the time, it's somebody will pass away, and in her dream. Then a little while later, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. She's
Or
very, very intuitive then. Yep.
yes,
I would like to say that she's a psychic. Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's definitely unique.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with her for 30 years, but she's I think she is a little bit on the um well, I don't know how you'd say it, sensitive side about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, is she willing to accept it or no?
I think she is. She's just don't know how to how to take the dreams. You know what I
Well,
mean?
she needs to take them for what they are. She needs to listen to them and kind of make a mental note of it. She already pretty much does have a mental note of it.
Yeah.
And um the next time that she has a dream like that, she can take and write it down, or she can tell you right away, and then you both can take and foresee what's going to happen from there, you
Okay.
know? And that will help her a little bit in justifying what's happening with her and why, her having these dreams, because one, she's telling you, and then when it happens, then you both are seeing it unfold, so to speak. You both know it. And that's going to be a little bit comforting to her, that she's not keeping it inside, but she's letting someone know, I had this dream, and then maybe a few weeks later it does happen. So you know it too.
Right. Well, thank you.
So that would give her a little bit of comfort.
Yes, I'll tell her what you said too about
Okay.
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome, hon. Well, okay, I'll hop down so somebody else can come up. Thank
Alrighty,
you.
well, we appreciate you.
Thank you. I do you guys too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Harry,
I
do you?
forgot. I was going to tell everybody to check out the Discord. I saw somebody in the comments mention Discord. If you subscribe to the channel, you get instant access to the Discord. So feel free to go ahead and do that if you're interested. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
You got a spooky story for us?
So I got several, but I'm gonna summarize at least the three worst of them. Um, so first one was when I was about 8 years old. I had a very vivid and very intense nightmare that when I woke up, I told my mother word for word everything. And then hours later, she had been across the apartment complex talking with one of our neighbors, and one of our neighbors had actually spoke about one of his dreams that actually happened to be the exact same thing I dreamt. And he didn't hear me talk about that dream. So apparently, because I didn't see myself or see anybody, that I recognized fully, except for a few people in the apartment complex in that dream. Apparently, my mother told me I dream walked at 8 years old. And it was a pretty vivid, scary dream. Like, people were rushing out of the apartment complex, somebody was trying to burn down the apartment complex, and it was pretty vivid. And then I come to find out uh, not too long after that, there was a fire in one of the apartment complex or one of the apartments. So that was the first one. And so yeah, it was a pretty scary thing to all of a sudden hear that I had the same dream as somebody else in the apartment complex. The second one was before moving into that place actually, and it was when I was about 7, 8 years old too, still about the same age. I woke up and I don't remember exactly why I woke up, but I woke up and I came out to the living room, and my mom and my stepmom were out there playing with one of those huge, like, 5 disc stereos. Um, and I said something, and then I turned around and I saw something pass from one side of the hallway to the other, like it was going out the front door. And when I turned back around, my mom was looking at me and she goes, "Did you see that?" And I was like, and I nodded my head. I'm like, "Yeah." And then the next day, we heard about a person who was sneaking around outside and was actually like doing something bad. I don't remember exactly what they were doing, but they were arrested for something really bad. So that was kind of like really creepy. And then the final one that I have had like a lot of problems with ever since I was in my teen years up till adulthood and now into my 30s. I haven't had a problem with it as of recently, which is good, but I was told afterwards that it's called uh sleep paralysis. Um, but it was a lot scarier than what I, thought it was. But yeah, if anyone's ever seen the movie Inception, where, they go to sleep and then they go into a dream world and then they go within that dream and go into another dream and they keep going. Um, I went to bed one night, fell asleep, and in that dream, I fell asleep again and went into another dream. And then I fell asleep again and went into another dream. And when I finally thought that I actually was waking up, I look over at my closet and there's this dark figure standing there. Just, I can't do anything. I can't move and I can't say anything, but I'm just staring at it. And it starts coming over to me and then it hurtles over me and starts like it puts his hands around my neck and I'm struggling for air and I'm trying to flail my body, but apparently I'm not moving at all because when I actually thought I finally woke up, I wasn't awake still. And then I still wasn't awake. And then finally, when I did finally wake up, I finally was actually moving, but it took me a while to actually get my body to start moving because I was completely paralyzed. So yeah, those are just the three weirdest things that I've had happen that were super out of the ordinary. From seeing some kind of apparition to dream walking to sleep paralysis, thinking that I'm awake and I'm not really awake.
Yeah. And it's really interesting how that happens, where you're dreaming and then you start dreaming in a dream, and it's almost like, like, what is this? This is the
Yeah,
strangest thing.
yeah. And that's actually one of my biggest fears because ever since that moment of sleep paralysis, like because I've had it happen before where I was having this dream and the person I was dating at the time, they were in my nightmares. It was actually a nightmare, but they were in it and they were dragging me up this flight of stairs, and then we get up to the top floor, out onto the top of the building, and then they push me off the building, and before I feel the ground, I wake up for real and I couldn't move at all. Like my body was completely just frozen. I felt like my neck was to the side, my arm was in some weird angle, my leg was in a weird angle, and I was on the couch, but I had passed out from cleaning all day. But I wake up and I can't move. For at least 30 minutes, I couldn't move. I actually thought I was paralyzed. Like sleep paralysis is no joke, but come to find out, it's the difference between a person with the sleepwalking disorder type situation and a person who ends up with sleep paralysis. It's basically our brains are stopping us from acting out the dream. So it will paralyze our body temporarily to make sure we don't act it out. Where a person the without that ability, without the sleep paralysis in their brain doing that to us, they will sleepwalk. Those who sleepwalk will act out what they're doing. And sometimes it can go as a beyond jumping off places. I mean, I've known, not personally known, but I've known stories and read stories about people jumping off of um, piers and drowning. I actually did act out a long time ago when I was about 6 years old. I jumped off the top bunk of my bunk bed thinking I was parachuting, and I woke up in a ball on the ground with my blanket or my sheet around me like a parachute. And then now it's like all of a sudden now I have this sleep paralysis, so I'm not acting out my dreams anymore. Instead, my mind is stopping my body from actually acting it out. Where others, that part of our brain might not always like key in, and people will act them out. So I guess it's a good thing that, my body's like, oh, or my mind's like, no, let's sleep paralysis you. You're not going to act this out. This is nope.
Yeah.
Others, it's like, well, good luck, have fun. So
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I personally have never experienced sleep paralysis, but we have so many people come on here and, have experiences with it, and I'm kind of glad I've never experienced it because it sounds
it's scary.
terrifying.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is, because I mean, to be laying there for 30 minutes and not being able to move, or to wake up and you thought you were flailing all over the place and banging on the wall and screaming, but in reality, you haven't been making a sound and your body hasn't been moving at all. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it could be really frightening to wake up to and not know what to do. You can't move, there's nobody around to help you, and to be alone in that, it's even worse. So I hope
Yeah.
no one ever has to deal with that. But at the same time, it can be a helpful thing to stop you from doing it.
Mhm.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. We appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
That kind of just made me think of something, though. Have you guys ever noticed that of all the people that we have come up and talk about sleep paralysis, they are always alone when it happens, right? Like, it kind of seems like it.
Yes, yeah.
Has anybody ever experienced sleep paralysis with like their partner in the bed, or like maybe your kids sleep with you or something? Like, maybe have like a roommate or something in the room?
Well, actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it actually does happen quite often with somebody else in the bed.
Does it?
Yeah, you know what? There was a really creepy like documentary type of thing. I can't remember if it was on Netflix. I don't remember where I saw it, but it's called The Nightmare. I don't know if anybody in the comments has seen it, but if you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. It's super creepy, especially if you've gone through sleep paralysis yourself.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but so there was someone earlier. I don't know if they're still here, but I answered their question, and then as soon as I answered it, they asked it again, like a minute or two later. So I don't know. Noah, if you're still here, the Discord is for subscribers. So subscribe, hit the little star button. It's bottom. What'd you say, Chris? Bottom left corner. something like that.
Yeah.
It's somewhere on the bottom of the screen. It's like a little yellow gold star. And that gives you instant access to the Discord. So if you're interested in joining, we do a lot of fun, cool stuff over there. We have like little mini chats. We do like little live streams with just, a handful of us, and we kind of all like hang out, talk about the paranormal, and we share videos, pictures. We do a ton of stuff over there. It's really fun. So if you really enjoy what we do here, it's a great place to hang out in between the streams, and it's also a great way to support the channel. So if you appreciate what we do here, very good way to kind of just throw a little support our way and be part of our community. So and also, if you like horror movie stuff, you definitely want to check out Chris, my lovely co-host, who's always here, so dedicated.
Sometimes, half of the time.
Yeah, maybe a little. He's a little, but yeah, no. And in the meantime, tap the screen, do some snoop boops, send some hearts. We've got about a little more than 45 minutes left in the night, so we definitely want to get as many people in here as possible to tell us some spooky stories.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hi, Chris.
Hello, what's up?
Hello.
I don't know. I was able to. I finally just stopped tapping your screen. I've been tapping like till my finger fell off. But
I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. I appreciate your channel. I don't know if you remember, I was on last week, talking about a few guests at my bed and breakfast I had at one time in my old Victorian. I don't know if you remember me talking last week.
I do, yeah.
Right. Well, so this is more on a personal level, and I wanted to see if any of the people on here ever experienced anything like this. But I don't know that it's really considered spooky or haunted. But just a real quick basis backstory was I had an older brother that was dying of juvenile diabetes, so it didn't happen like overnight. But as it got closer to him passing, we were extremely close, and I was younger. But I told him, I said, if you ever have a way to contact me when you pass over, do it. And I know some people may think that's bizarre, but that's just how close we were. And so after he did pass away, for a couple years, I never heard anything. So I thought, well, it's never going to happen. So then maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 years later, this weird phenomenon started to follow me, and it still does it to this day. And I can either be driving or even walking, but especially when it first started happening, I noticed when I was driving, but actual street lights pop off around me all the time. And I mean, it got so bad on the road. Sometimes I would think, what's going on? Is it just me? Am I crazy? And it's been happening for years. And after a while, I don't even think that much about it. And then sometimes it'll enter my head because it'll happen so consistently. Maybe not every lamppost, but or a street light, but a lot. And I'm telling you, it happens a lot in the car. But so sometimes my neighbors, and I'm still in this Victorian neighborhood, but we have vintage lighting that's done just to create that ambiance. But anyway, I'll walk with my neighbors, and I'll say, just to let you know, these street lights, these lampposts they will go out. Not every one, but every so many minutes or whatever, they'll start going off. It got so that it was the big joke in my neighborhood, but they started even teasing me about being a witch. But I always just wondered if it was ever my brother um, doing it or what. But like I said, when he first passed away for years, I never got any contact, and I kind of gave up on that. But I just think it's a very weird phenomena that and I can go out. There's one lamppost at the end of my driveway. Sometimes it responds, or if I walk away from it, it'll go out. Or if I get near other ones, they'll pop off. And a lot of my friends that do go walking with me at nighttime, they just learn to accept it. But, they thought I was crazy at first until they actually experienced it with me. So I don't know if other people have had that same reaction with lamppost or whatever, but I just wanted to share that tonight. I just thought it's kind of a weird thing, but after a while you get used to it, but you still want to know why it does it. And I know I'm not
Yeah,
crazy.
that is
But
really peculiar.
Yeah, and I kind of looked it up one time about, and there are a few people that have reported it, but I don't know if there was a name I thought it said something like the Crystal Childs or something, but there are a few people in this country that say they experience the same thing. But I mean, I could go out tonight and just walk 2 or 3 blocks and it'll happen. If it happened constantly, like I have seen some street lights, they'll kick out, and the magnetic eye that turns them on or turns them off when daylight comes upon. But a lot of them will kick off and they'll re-register themselves and they'll have a slight glow and then they pop back on depending on the bulb. But I mean, to even do it while I'm driving is in the very beginning would just drive me crazy. But I just think it's a weird phenomenon that I experienced. But I've never experienced anything ghostly. But to me, it just is so strange. Has anybody ever come on and said that to you guys before?
I don't think we've had anybody like that, have we, Chris?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah, so like later in my life, I've asked my friends. I'm like, "Do you think I'm crazy?" They go, "Well, I don't recall these lights ever popping off when I go on they go on their walks by themselves with other people." But it's a big joke. But a lot of people will call me a witch when it happens. But as long as they don't bust the bulb or the globe, I'm all right. But it's very strange, and I always rack my brain thinking, why is this happening or what does it really mean? But I'm sure other people experience some things that maybe follow them through their life that they wonder what the reason is behind it. But anyway, I just wanted to come on again and just say I really enjoy your channel and share something with you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you so
Yeah.
much.
So I'm going to go back to tapping the screen and pop off, but I'll be listening. Thanks for having me on, you
Alrighty.
guys. Bye, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
That is very interesting. If anybody in the comments has had an experience like that, feel free to chime in there and, um, you know, that is really peculiar. I always used to kind of jokingly say that, I don't know, that I caused office supplies to malfunction, but I think it was just I just got tired of their crap, like I just
Yeah.
just tired of this office and I'm tired of this crap. But yeah, so I guess that doesn't count. I don't know.
Maybe it was him himself. 'Cause I don't. This doesn't really have anything to do with like lamps or anything. But if I can't wear a digital watch, I put it on. It goes right to 1 o'clock every time I put one on. I can't wear one.
Really? Huh.
I don't know
That
if I have too much electricity going through me. What I have no clue, but I cannot wear a digital watch.
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Fright. We did have somebody that kind of has like a similar what would that even be? Like you have like an electromagnetic charge about you or something, maybe? I don't
Maybe
know. That's
maybe
so
the
weird.
vibrations in you are too high or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That is weird, Harry.
Yeah, it's always been that way.
Hello.
Are they connecting?
Afro Chick, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hello,
Oh,
welcome.
okay. Okay. I wanted to chime in and I have maybe 3 or 4 different incidents that happened to me. One happened when I was 7 years old, and we stayed in a trailer in Marjorie, Arkansas. And one night, well, you know when it like right before it gets dark outside, like 5 minutes before daylight ends or whatever, and I was looking outside my grandma's window in her room, looking out from her room or whatever. And as a little child, it confused me when I saw this. I'm like, what is this? But, as an adult, I'm like, okay, now I realize what I saw. But anyway, I just happened to be looking out on the grass, and I was just sitting there, looking out on the grass. And the next thing I know, it was like footsteps stepping towards the window where I was at. I didn't see anybody. I just saw the footsteps shuffling in the grass. I could see the grass move and footsteps just shuffle, on the grass towards the window where I was at. That's the first incident I've ever seen. Now, the second incident I had ever seen was when I was a single mother, and I had moved to Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I was looking for a place to stay. And I found these apartments. There were apartments that were attached to each other. I think it was four of them. Yeah, it was four, upstairs, downstairs on one side, upstairs, downstairs on another side. Okay, tell me why one night when I went to sleep on my couch, I had this really nice stereo, right? And I wanted to listen to some ocean music to help me sleep. So I turned the ocean music on and got myself calmed down and everything, and I had went to sleep. And I woke back up, and as I was waking up, I'm looking like towards the kitchen. See, the kitchen area was dark. The only light that was on was the bathroom light that was upstairs. So there was a light shining down from the upstairs area where my bathroom was at, and you could see it from where I was laying. Well, the next thing I know, I saw this big, it was like have you ever seen one of those statues of David where he looks strong and he's got the curly hair and everything? Okay, so I saw this walk out of this shadow that looks kind of like that, walk out of my kitchen, and you could see the shadow just moving along the wall, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm still dreaming. So I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, I just need to go back to sleep. And as I'm still looking at this thing, it it runs towards me, and I see like a light, like a almost like a lime green face just grinning at me as it's running towards me. Scares the mess out of me. So I scream to the top of my lungs, flip my lights on, and like, you know how kids say, please leave the light on because I'm scared of the dark. Well, I left the light on that whole night, and I could not go back to sleep. And I had family members that lived like down the street from me. And it was like, I want to go over there, but then I can't go over there because it's like 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, So I was like really scared. That scared the mess out of me. Now here's another incident that happened in some other apartments that I stayed in. It was two apartments connected to each other. So um my boyfriend at the time had borrowed my car to go to his friend's house, right? And I was watching TV on the couch and had fallen asleep. And the next thing I know, I feel something whap hit me on the side of my leg, where my thigh is at. So I'm thinking it's my boyfriend trying to wake me up out of my sleep. I look up, nobody's there. Scares the mess out of me, so I scream again. So I scream again. Okay, and then there's another incident that I had when I stayed at a friend's house of mine, and she lived in a house where a young lady had been murdered. So I was laying on the couch once again, and the next thing I know, while I'm asleep, something hits me in the bottom of my foot and wakes me up out of my sleep. So these different accounts always happen with something either hitting me or I'm seeing something I'm really not supposed to see. Not to mention the second one the second one I told you about, where the light was shining from down from upstairs to down in the stairs area. I had a party one night, and it was my cousin and some of his friends and some other people that were there. Now, him and his friend guy was sitting at the end of the steps, right? And I noticed they kept looking up. They would both look up at the top of the steps at the same time. And I'm thinking, I'm wondering, do they see something? So I asked him, I said, do y'all see something? He's like, Miranda, I swear to God, I see somebody peeking around the corner upstairs. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, the kids are not here. Ain't nobody up there, y'all. Like, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I said, I believe you, because I told him what happened to me while I was there. And then there was another lady that lived in the same apartments I lived in, said that she saw something coming down her steps, and it would knock her what do you call them thing, the fire alarm the little fire alarm, it would knock the fire alarm thing off of her wall in the same apartment. So I was like, mm-mm. I had to move up out of there quick fast. So I've had a number of things that happened to me, scare the mess out of me.
Wow, yeah,
Crazy,
that
right?
sounds terrifying. Holy cow.
It is. It really is. And then when you think, I mean, can you just imagine your sleep and you wake up out of your sleep because somebody done tapped you on the side of your leg and you thinking it's your boyfriend and nobody's standing there. Nobody, like, yeah, that scared the mess out of me.
Yeah, for
It
sure. It
scared
would
the
be
mess
too.
out of me.
Wow, so you
Well, those are
moved, you
my
got away
stories, and
from
I
it.
thank y'all for listening to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is terrifying. Holy cow.
Yeah,
To be
those are
bothered while
amazing.
you're sleeping. Yeah, that was, ooh, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I think she just won for the night, guys. She's the winner of the spookiest spooky stories tonight.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, I've lost track of who was. Oh, there goes my earbud. I'm going to super glue these things in my ears. Why does this happen to me? I'm going to get some wireless headphones. I can't take it anymore. I hate earbuds. Let's see.
Hello, Hannah.
Hi, how's it going, everyone?
Good, good.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I have a story that doesn't necessarily follow the creepy time vibes of maybe what we're going through, but more of like a spiritual one to kind of bring things on a lighter note. But I've as a person who is a evidential medium and somebody who is also a witch, generational witch passed down through psychics, my grandmother, these kinds of things. I've had a lot of interesting interactions growing up, but never like one that I had probably about 5 years ago. Um, was going through a I don't know what I would guess, like a kind of a spiritual awakening. My mother had just passed. It was like this like transitional thing between her gifts being passed to mine. And I was on my front porch as old crones do, as witches do. We sit on our porch a lot. Um, but I had started to feel a presence in the area. And as I'm feeling this presence, I'm also hearing. I live in a pretty residential suburban type neighborhood. I live in the desert. There's no leaves or woodland type things, but I heard what sounded like footsteps walking down my street. And so I'm listening to this and I'm going, I know that's not somebody. That's not a person. There's no way. There's rocks and desert and dust and but it sounds like crunching on leaves. And so I call my husband out and I'm like, hey, come out here and hear this for a moment. So he sits next to me and he's listening. He's like, there's somebody coming down the street. And I'm like, go look. There's nobody coming. So he goes to look. Nobody's coming. He's like, that's fucking weird. He goes back inside. And I'm like, okay, something's about to happen right now. I I settle into whatever's happening and I start to see with my visual sense a bluish type light coming up from the other side of the street. And it is completely visual. It's like a blue orb coming up through the street and it presents itself in front of me. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, am I really seeing this? Is this like a real thing? And it asks me essentially to come inside my house to visit my children, my two children who are sleeping. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, what the hell? No. And it sends this feeling of love through me that lets me enough trust it to go, okay. Now my front door is iron. Um, it is a wonky ass front door. and it's gated essentially. And this, so you'll find this a lot in the desert. But you have to like really open it. You have to like pull it up and kind of wiggle it to get it open. The moment that I decided to allow this thing to come in, it opened the gate, which was funny to me because I'm like, if you're like an entity, you don't need to open it. You just go in, right? But it wanted to let me know that it was going in. So it goes in. I am in this moment, I'm like, oh, this is like really weird. I don't know how to feel about this. Like it's making me a little anxious, but I sit and I wait and I can feel it in there for about 10-15 minutes and then it leaves, right? And I can feel it leave and the door closes and I go inside and I check on my kids. I'm like, oh my gosh, are they okay? Like, and they're dead asleep. Now what's interesting was the next morning, my daughter, who was at that time, she was only about 3.5, woke up completely just like in this emotional sense. She's having what I would, the only thing that I would be able to explain maybe as like a past life regression. She's upset. She's talking about how they left her, and I bring her down from her bunk bed and her little brother's sleeping under her, and I'm trying to like, hey, like what's going on? Can you tell me what happened? And she's walking me through these steps of this this regression that she's having, talking about how she was hit in the shoulder with a fire, and I kind of lift up her shirt and there's a red mark on her back, and she's explaining to me, yeah, just this whole um expression of this past life and how she was angry that she can see all these feet moving along her. She's left there. um and so of course we go through like, her whole story, and I, in my witchy ways and the ways that I've been taught, try to help her through this. And what's interesting is like before this experience, she had always kind of been a bit aggressive. She had gotten in trouble a couple times at preschool for smacking a kid across his face with a telephone, and has always been into like martial arts and protecting herself. And so we've learned to like channel this, but I think a lot of what was happening in this paranormal experience wasn't necessarily something scary, just more of an experience. And I think that like, I guess the only reason kind of why I wanted to come on to this is I love all these like spooky stories, but I also kind of want to bring another light to the paranormal and certain experiences that we can have and how it can actually like benefit us in these like interesting ways, and how we can learn to work with certain spirits or entities or any of these things. I guess that's kind of all I wanted to like come on and talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And we have such a huge variety of experiences and encounters here. So this is definitely a good place to do that. We have everything from Loch Ness Monster stories to aliens to
I
ghosts.
love
So
it. I love it. Oh my God. And I have so many more stories too. Like, don't get me started on like aliens. And I've had my fair share of like freaky paranormal stuff, like before I knew anything about the paranormal, you know.
mhm.
But super cool channel. Just wanted to like share a kind of more lighthearted experience of what spirits can do when we work in tandem with them. So, but thank you for having me
Awesome.
on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Awesome, awesome. A lot of good stories in here tonight, guys.
Yeah, it's been a good night.
Um, Nick Davis, who is the mother of all witches. I don't know, is this a trick question? I mean, naturally, I would like to say me, but I guess I can't say me, so. But I'd like to say me. We'll go with me since it's my live stream. I don't know, I'm just joking. Kimberly is next. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. Keep us out there in the algorithm.
Welcome, Kimberly.
I think Is she not connecting?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Kimberly, I'm going to go ahead and drop you. If you want, you could try to request again. Vet Tech has been waiting. Oh, Vet Tech is gone. Vet Tech, if you are out there and you would like to re-request, feel free to jump back in the box.
Hello.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I have not done this before, so if I'm rambling or anything, let me know. But I come from kind of a very very witchy, all kind of Scottish Irish family, and my grandmother growing up, we lived in Maryland. And we would visit her in Pennsylvania and Gettysburg a lot. And growing up, she took us around the Gettysburg battlefield. She was very, very much believed in spirits and ghosts, and she would take us through at night. And one of my experiences, one of the better experiences that I had, I remember I was very young and we were driving along and I kind of looked out into this field and there was kind of like mist rolling in, the typical mist that you kind of see. And then I looked over and I kind of saw a light from like an oil lantern. And it was a woman coming out of kind of this like mist almost, and she was dressed in all white with this oil lantern. And I turned to my grandma and I was like, can you see her? And she was like, no, I don't see what you're seeing. And so I looked over again and she was gone. But it was just this very like warm presence. And they have stories in Gettysburg of the lady in white. And that's who I believe that she was. So that one was a very warm, very nice presence. They do also I have another one from Sax Bridge, which is very commonly known for, doing rituals there, seances, that kind of thing. And we drove up at night, like one does. And we drove up at night and there was this path back into the woods right next to the bridge. And I went and I walked off towards that path and I seriously, I looked into that woods and I saw like red eyes and I got this like horrible, overwhelming feeling of just dread and hate and evil almost. And I was like, Grandma, we need to get out of here. Do you feel that? And she was like, I feel that. That is here. That presence is here. Let's get in the car and get out of here now. And I don't know, to this day, I don't know what that presence was. I have not gone back to Sax Bridge since. But, we are a very, very sensitive family. And I think that's kind of why, she took us on these trips to kind of see who was the more sensitive one. My sister was a little bit, she's kind of like, I don't really believe in this. But the last one I'll tell, and then I'll let someone else go up on here. But we were driving through, and on one of the, oh goodness, we were in Devil's Den, and from there you can see one of the big hills that the battle was on, and it was completely dark out. And we parked the car and we stopped because we felt like maybe something was going on. And we looked out over into the dark and could see these like reddish, almost like light up, like from an old gun, like from an old type of like gun shooting. And we saw hundreds of them lighting up on this mountain where this battle had taken place. And I can't, forgive me, I cannot remember the name of the battle right now, but it was I was like, oh my goodness, these are lost soldiers. It was very sad. It was a very sad feeling. So there's a lot to be had in Gettysburg. There are good things, there are bad things, and then there's sad. So I just kind of wanted to share that mixed of experiences and put that out there because I know there are some Gettysburg folks too.
Yeah, that is really cool. And actually, one of my mods here, Tully, has an experience that he was telling us in the Discord the other night about kind of like what you're saying. Like you saw the flashes, but they actually heard, they didn't see the flashes, but they heard, like, how could I say this? That's TikTok friendly. The pew pew
Pew pew.
shooting past their ears. Yeah, they could hear it whizzing past their ears. They visited like a battlefield. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. And I was just telling him a minute ago in the Discord, I was like, oh, this reminds me of your story. But yeah, that's really cool that you were able to have these experiences with your grandma too. I think that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yes, she is great. She is a she's actually a Christian witchy woman, which I just think is the coolest thing ever. So
Yeah.
she's amazing. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. Very cool. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of that reminds me so much of your story that you and Cecil were talking about?
Oh, I'm up. I think that I hit that by mistake.
Oh,
I was like,
okay.
hi. uh, yes, we had some nice stories, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely a
Yes,
good
sir.
one tonight.
Yeah, I'm just like happy. I just wanted to welcome anyone hearing, um, that anyone who is a witchy folk, please follow Sarah. Like, we have a lot of stories, and she would love to hear from more witchy people. And so would I and everyone else. It would be very nice to have y'all's input, um, from time to time and help each other with the paranormal and explanations.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just excited tonight about that. And like it's awesome. Some people share some nice little like delightful stories, like my whole little Friday experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay,
is really cool that we're finally getting like some witchy stories because I was just saying a couple weeks ago, it's like I really wish we get Louisiana stories and like some witch stories. And we kind of are, so it's really cool.
yes, like I want to kind of like I'm gonna ask some permissions, but I'm gonna share some stuff. But I just forgot to share with you an
Thank you.
update because remember how I was asking a question even to myself, and how come a lot of people who are sorcerers or practitioners who see into the paranormal and stuff like that don't get ET visits. So I asked this, and I don't know why I didn't share this last week, but I asked this from one of the elders, and they said that it is a possibility that sometimes it could mean that interdimensional and extraterrestrial beings may, like, they probably, the stories that we hear, you know how they like to infiltrate people's minds or stuff like that, or people have experiences of lost time. It may be that some people cannot be easily subdued in that way, and so that is a possibility that in order to remain hidden, they would, hide from you, or they would not even come near you. There's also another possibility, that the shaman said, that it is a possibility that they think that we are scary because when we are people who can see into like a spiritual realm or something like that, that's something very offbeat for them if like they're an advanced race, and it's not comfortable. They're very like spooked out, or like they think that we're the devil or something like that, or we're something that is not normal or scary for them. Maybe something can come through. So I'm not sure. As what he said is like it could be, those are the things that I know, but we've nobody in our like, history has had any kind of experiences other than like interdimensional. And I don't even know if I can certainly say they were extraterrestrials, is what he told me. And that was kind of a fun fact. I just wanted to like, Well, I don't even know if it's a fact, but I just wanted to let you know that maybe that's possibly it. How come I never seen a freaking alien? Is it because they know that I'm gonna be a volunteer? You're like, excuse me, take me, hey, like, can I have a ride or something? But yeah, like it could be a lot of different reasons, but the shaman told me that it is most likely that if there's magic workers, people who can see, people who can feel, they will not have any kind of interaction with extraterrestrials, for they think that we may, you know, take over them, or we may do something to them, or vice versa. Like something cannot interact, which is quite interesting.
That is truly interesting, actually. I would have never thought of that particular take on the subject. But, Chris, did you want to say something?
Oh no, sorry. I had to go pee really quick, guys. So I just got back. For once, I
But
went to go
yeah.
take a bathroom break.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's cool. Release the Kraken. But yeah, I do. I like that theory. And that is really
Yeah, even
interesting.
Raven is saying, because I've never, Cat Mama, I've never really seen a UFO, and I've done a lot of traveling, and I've been to places that I never thought human, like, UFOs were very prominent, but I never had those experiences. And even Lodge was saying, like, look at the people who, claim to be beamed up, and I'm just like, I'm livid, I'm laughing here. And so, I mean, I get it, and it's probably people who are more easily influenced to be a, like, as I'm looking in a perspective of science, right? Like, I would like an easy subject to study. If there was a subject that was very hard, or something that I'm just like, ooh, let's not go down. Like, I'd rather study a dead body, or I'd rather study a very unknown, like a human that's nonchalant, than go and study a Bigfoot. Like, you see, like those two things are just like, what trouble you want to take, right? And so I'm kind of thinking it could have made sense, because wow. So I was like, it's me. They don't like me. They don't like any of us who are, like, psychic or have any kind of gift. It makes me sad.
You're in Texas too, right, Ollie?
Yes, south of Houston, actually,
Oh,
close to, actually, I'm right next to, like, maybe 10-15 minutes away from the Space Center.
okay. And you've never seen a UFO ever?
Never. And if I did,
Hmm.
I wouldn't know, because maybe I thought it was a shooting star or something. Because
Oh, that's
never.
crazy.
Yeah, every time I've had any experiences, all were like very here on Earth or interdimensional. And I don't even know if those are possible aliens, but never a real experience with extraterrestrials, as in seeing a UFO or anything like that.
Yeah.
And um, I have some colleagues that say that they may have, but they experienced something else.
Hmm. Yeah, UFOs are awesome. I really hope I get to see another. I always tell Sarah this. I hope I get to see another one before it's my time's over.
I would like to say hello, and say that, hey, I come in peace. I mean no harm. Please.
Right.
I would like to just have a chat, have some tea, and there's nothing in there either.
Sarah, do we have any more guests?
I think we do. Do you want to hang out, Ollie?
I think that's a yes.
Oh, sure, I don't mind. Oh my god,
Okay.
that was my laugh.
A question, real quick, for all the witchy folk in here, because Ali's been just bringing up really good scenarios and questions. Um, Same question for the witchy folk in here. Have any of you ever seen a UFO? Because Ali, you're just bringing up some really good points tonight.
Yeah, I'm just mind blown. Like I never really. I was like, that's why. I'm just like upset. It's not my fault.
Yeah, so it looks like a lot have, possibly.
And you and me have too.
Yeah, yeah. So it looks like a lot of people have. A lot of
Also,
witchy
witchy
folks have.
folk, if you have had experiences, please come up and let us know. I want to. We will all want to hear your stories.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All y'all had this UFO experience? The ones and what is it? Is it my crystals or is it something like what is it that they are not coming towards me? I'm nice.
Maybe you're not paying enough attention. Maybe they are, but you aren't noticing them.
Could be, could be. I noticed this nice little ghost lady that just like randomly sits next to me in a cafe, but like, oh, Lord behold, a person from another world. Like, what am I gonna do? Take a sample? I don't have a petri dish on me all the time.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to bring up the next guest. Actually, real quick, because we've just got about 10 minutes left in the show. Let me plug everything real quick so that you guys know. We have a Discord for subscribers. It is subscriber only. We have a great time over there. We do like little get-togethers in the voice/video chat. I'm going to do some tarot readings. I think that'll be super fun because I'm a little rusty at it and I want to get back into it. We post pictures. I've shared some of my paranormal pictures. We post videos. I've got EVPs posted over there. It's very busy, very interesting. It's a very cool community. And if you appreciate this channel and you like what we do here, it's a great way to support the channel as well and become part of our community. So definitely hit the little subscribe button. Join the Discord. You also get all of the cool little emojis. If you guys want to spam the comments with Bigfoot and aliens and stuff, that would be super cool. I would appreciate that. Those of you who are subscribed. And also be sure to follow Chris, my co-host, and be sure before the show ends tonight to follow me. Turn on post notifications so that you get notified when I go live, and go check out my new video because it's super cool and it didn't get a lot of views for some reason. So definitely, hit all the boxes with a little check mark, and we'll bring up the next guest and see what kind of spooky story they've got. Hello, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, perfect. Good evening, everyone. Um, I've never really talked to so many people at once, so it's going to be weird for me. Um, my name is Manny, and I had a strange experience growing up in Mexico. When I was about 12, a bunch of my cousins, we thought it'd be fun to have, and we kind of let our hands go. And years went by, and I started hearing footsteps around 2, 3 in the morning over my room, and I thought I was going crazy when I started hearing these footsteps. One moment, my radio, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes. Uh-oh.
It looks like he is off the app.
Should we give him a sec?
Yeah, we'll give it just a second.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I apologize. I have really bad connection where I'm at. What did you guys hear so far?
Probably because it was glitchy. Maybe if you could just like start over a little bit, back up some, because some people in the comments were saying they couldn't hear you very well.
Oh, sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Manny. I grew up in Mexico, and when I was 12 years old, me and a bunch of cousins and friends gathered, and we had a seance for fun on the property where I grew up before it was built into a house. and we didn't finish correctly. And then years had gone by. I think I was about 15 at the time, so 3 years had gone by. I started to hear footsteps every night above my ceiling, and it would just go back and forth for like hours. And I would go to the ceiling because where I grew up, it's everyone could go on their ceiling, and there was nothing there. And sorry, I'm getting nervous thinking about it, like I'm shaking. For years, and I thought I was going crazy. I really thought that maybe it was all in my head. I told my mother, and she said, "Oh no, it's your neighbors. It's probably the goat hitting the wall." And I remember my sister the next year came over to visit from the States, and she slept in my room. And she wakes me up like at 3 in the morning. She's like, "Are you on the roof?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Well, who's walking on the roof?" And I said, "What do you mean? You can hear the footsteps?" And in that moment, I realized, oh my God, I'm not crazy. There's some paranormal shit happening, excuse my French. And she could hear the footsteps going back and forth. She wakes up my mom. It's like 4 in the morning. Everyone's like, "No, it's the goat. Just let it go." Months had gone by, and my brother came over to spend the night, and he stayed in that room. And he wakes me up and says, "Hey, who's on the roof?" And I said, "It's the ghost." And ever since, like, my mom got really upset, she had the house blessed, and we haven't heard the footsteps ever since. But that was when I got confirmed that, yeah, there's like real things such as ghosts. So that was my experience with something paranormal, those footsteps back and forth. But it gets weirder. As I got older, I found out that the land where our house was built before it was blessed belonged to an uncle of mine who committed suicide. So I think that it was his spirit since he killed himself. So that was my paranormal experience.
Yeah, that's definitely very creepy.
Yeah, I thought I was going schizo, but it was interesting to find out that it was my uncle who lived next door, and that was
Yeah.
his corral where they had goats, and we built
Yes.
over it, and he killed himself with a shotgun. So
Well, just really quick, we
yeah.
gotta
Oh,
kind of be careful with the land over
sorry, I
here.
forgot. I forgot. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did
yeah,
something.
we're almost done for the night, thank God. But yeah, no, but
Chris.
Sorry, sorry,
um,
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we got to be careful about the language, guys. Well, that is a really cool story. We really appreciate you coming up and sharing that with
yeah,
us.
I
The
was so
footsteps on the
nervous.
roof. That is,
Thank you.
but yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, and I would never say this again because I work in mental health, so they'll look at me like I'm crazy. Thank you guys
I'm
for
a
Thank you for
listening.
coming up.
psychologist, so you're okay.
Um, yeah, don't repeat it in the comments, please. But yeah, we got to be careful, guys. I know it's so difficult when you're talking about like the paranormal and inevitably the afterlife and such is going to come up, and it's like we got to be careful. We got to be careful. Anyway, guys, we are at the end of the show tonight. Probably need to go ahead and cut it since we had a few keywords there at the end. But I appreciate guys. We will be back tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern, and
hmm
we will be doing ghost stories. So if you guys want to come back tomorrow night, if we weren't able to get to you tonight, be sure to come back tomorrow night and join. We start at 11. We'll be here. You can jump right on because usually 11 is slow. But we appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. And we appreciate you for sharing your stories. And we hope to see you. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow me here on TikTok so you get notified of when I go live. Go check out my new video about the Bracken Devil. Ollie, Cat Mama, Harry, Chris, everybody, thank you all so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And we will see you all tomorrow.
Good night. See ya.
good night, guys.